of He Chaoyan and He Chaoxin, who rushed into his embrace the moment they laid eyes on him. He Chaoyan buried her head against Wang Yu's chest, her voice choked with emotion. You were gone for so long, and the sonar picked up nothing. I thought you were dead. As she lifted her face, tears cascaded from her eyelashes onto Wang Yu's hand, creating a heart-wrenching sight. He Chaoxin, emerging from Wang Yu's embrace, felt a bit awkward. Her once immaculate makeup was now smeared, yet she forced a smile. Brother Wang, you have finally returned. Chaoyan was even preparing to dive in search of you. Wang Yu gazed down at the trembling He Chaoyan in his arms, gently wiping away the remaining tears clinging to her lashes. I was not far beneath the water. I merely swam a bit further. The sonar may have malfunctioned. Do you have any idea how frightened I was? She murmured, unwilling to release her hold on him. We were ready to contact the maritime rescue team because we couldn't locate you. How long was I gone? Over an hour. It's my fault, Wang Yu said, leaning down to place a kiss on the top of her head, smiling softly. He Yujun approached Wang Yu and playfully punched him, though a subtle glimmer of relief shone in his eyes. Honestly, if something had happened to you, my father would have truly killed me. I apologize for causing you all to worry. Wang Yu shrugged, his eyes filled with regret. His intention had merely been to explore the underwater scenery. Who could have anticipated encountering that terrifying prehistoric octopus? It was a close call for him. Reflecting on it now, Wang Yu couldn't help but feel a sense of dread. Had he not had the sudden inspiration to utilize a loyalty card he had not yet used, he might have found himself in dire straits. To return safely was indeed a stroke of fortune amidst misfortune. Chapter 355. Let Chaoxin make you another. Your brother Wang has returned. Why the tears? Shi Mengyao gazed at the despondent He Zhaoxin, cradling her head in a comforting gesture. He Zhaoxin, pouting and sobbing, nodded slightly, observing that Wang Yu was unharmed. Her mood began to gradually stabilize. At that moment, a shadow beneath the yacht's surface emerged, and Xiaojing surfaced from the water and, upon seeing Wang Yu had returned to the deck, felt a wave of relief wash over her. She took out her phone and sent a message. Wang Xiao is not simple, and Xiaojing thought, her long hair damp and her gaze towards Wang Yu filled with curiosity. The shadow nodded in agreement, relieved that Wang Xiao was safe. Otherwise, they would have had a difficult time explaining to Wang Lao Yizi. Exchanging glances with Xiaojing, they were puzzled about where Wang Yu had ventured. After all, they had risked suffocation to dive to depths of over 1,000 meters. Yet had failed to find any trace of him. It was quite absurd. Wang Yu slumped onto the sofa, grabbing a bottle of whiskey and gulping it down. I'm parched. Within a minute, he had emptied the bottle. Don't drink so hastily. He Chaoyan frowned, snatching an ice-cold orange juice from the coffee table and thrusting it into his hands. It's not good to drink something cold right after diving. And why consume so much alcohol? Have some orange juice instead. Wang Yu finished the orange juice that He Chaoyan had given him, finally feeling a sense of relief. His body felt invigorated, but as he rubbed his stomach and sensed hunger, he called out to the waiter, "Could you please prepare some food for me? Make it a generous amount of meat. Enough for 3. The waiter appeared surprised, but respectfully acknowledged the request before heading to the kitchen. Perhaps it was the brush with life and death. But Wang Yu felt an insatiable hunger. Yes, Wang Yu must be exhausted. Ask the chef to prepare something nutritious, He Chaoyan remarked. Realizing the situation, He Zhaoxin quickly said, I'll go keep an eye on the chef and urge him to hurry. She then stood and walked towards the kitchen. Tell the chef to make more. I'm hungry too. He Yujun sat in front of Wang Yu, pouring him a glass of champagne, and smiled. You have no idea how anxious Chaoyan and Zhaoxin were just now. Especially Zhaoxin. She was on the verge of a breakdown, repeatedly calling for her Wang Yu. My ears are nearly worn out from hearing it. He Yujun felt a twinge of pity for his sister's deep affection, knowing that He Chaoyan was already with Wang Yu. He wondered what good her persistence would do. While it moved her, it would not sway Wang Yu. Yet, she was still his sister, and regardless of the outcome, as her brother, he felt compelled to support her. Seeing her distressed made him feel equally pained. Could he blame Wang Yu? Perhaps, for he possessed a face so strikingly handsome that it captivated He Zhaoxin. Even he, a staunchly masculine man, felt a tinge of envy. My sister has always been well-behaved, beautiful, and kind-hearted. I wonder who will ultimately win her affections, he mused. As her brother, he felt indifferent, yet he couldn't help but wonder if some might regret it if she ended up with someone less deserving. He Chaoxian, the girl, will turn 20 next year, and it is indeed the right time for her to embark on a romantic journey. He Yujun, with a playful glint in his eyes, remarked to Wang Yu with profound implication. If you ask me, why not keep the good fortune within our circle? I truly hope my sister finds someone among those close to her. Wang Yu found himself at a loss for words. What could he say at that moment? He merely pretended not to hear, lifting his glass and quietly sipping his drink. Yet, as he gazed towards the direction in which He Chao Xian had departed, an inexplicable expression crossed his face. Moments later, He Chao Xian approached with a gilded tray in hand. She adorned her hair with a delicate diamond butterfly clip and retouched her makeup, concealing the remnants of her earlier tears. Brother Wang Yu, the dishes are here, she announced cheerfully, placing a plate of pan-seared bluefin tuna before him. I personally prepared this dish for you. Do let me know if it pleases your palate. The waitstaff continued to bring forth an array of dishes: braised bluefin tuna, charcoal-grilled tuna skewers, Australian lobster, and tuna bisque, rich black pepper steak, and crab meat fried rice, among others. Due to Wang Yu's request for more meat, the offerings were predominantly hearty, with scant vegetables. More dishes flowed from the kitchen as they were completed. Wang Yu glanced at the pan-seared bluefin tuna, and He Chao Xian eagerly urged him, Brother Wang Yu, please try it. I shall not be polite then. Everyone, let's dig in. I am indeed quite famished. He picked up a piece and tasted it, his eyes lighting up. This is delightful. Cao Xin, I had no idea you possessed such culinary skills. This is a recipe I learned from Mama. I'm glad you enjoy it, she replied, her lovely eyes curving into crescent moons, radiating joy. Chao Xian's skills have become increasingly refined. She possesses the prowess of a five-star hotel chef, He Yujun commented approvingly. He suddenly paused, casting a glance at Wang Yu before adding with a smile, It seems Brother Wang's influence is substantial. She hardly cooks for me, her own brother. If Brother Wang Yu enjoys this, I shall have Chao Xian prepare more for you in the future. He Chao Lien chimed in with a light laugh, unperturbed by her sister's evident concern for Wang Yu. Having witnessed the earlier events, He Chao Lien recognized the depth of He Chao Xian's affection for Wang Yu. As her sister, she realized that she had inadvertently encroached upon what could be considered a romantic interest. Despite her initial reservations, she reconciled with the notion that if their father could take multiple concubines, what was wrong with Wang Yu having a few girlfriends? It was better to support He Chao Xian than to let someone else take her place. She held firm in her belief that with the sisters by his side, Wang Yu would not find favor with another woman. Even in future romantic rivalries, they would possess a certain confidence. He Chao Xian cast a grateful glance towards He Chao Lien, surprised that her sister would defend her rather than express discontent over her affection for Wang Yu. Wang Yu picked up a piece of braised tuna, its fat glistening amber under the light. After a few chews, he swallowed, savoring the lingering flavor. It was simply exquisite. Originally, bluefin tuna was not only delicious as sashimi. To a child from the mountains like him, the flavors of pan-frying and braising were even more exquisite. He glanced up at He Zhaoxin, who stood by watching him eat, and casually remarked, You should join me. This ordeal must have tired you. I'm not hungry. Wang Yu, you should eat more, He Zhaoxin replied with a cheerful smile as she moved closer to Wang Yu, attentively serving him dishes and pouring wine. He Zhaolien, unperturbed, joined He Zhaoxin in attending to Wang Yu's meal with a bright smile. He Yujun was delighted. It seemed that his earlier words had indeed borne some fruit. The atmosphere was so pleasant, yet he couldn't shake a twinge of sadness within. Chapter 356. No time to explain. Wang Yu reveled in the attentive service of the two women beside him, and the food felt even more delectable. As he wielded a large pair of tongs, his movements suddenly halted, and he gasped in alarm. He quickly set down the crab claw and urged He Yujun, Hurry. He Yujun, tell the captain to set sail immediately and leave this area. Why? He Yujun asked, momentarily taken aback, glancing at the silvery sea illuminated by the moonlight. The scenery here is lovely at night. I want to try night fishing. No time to explain. Please, get the captain to start the boat. Wang Yu stood up, panic evident on his face. He approached the edge of the deck and opened his vision to peer into the depths of the sea. Fortunately, within his line of sight, there was no sign of that prehistoric giant octopus. He let out a sigh of relief, but remained vigilant. Upon boarding the vessel, Wang Yu had relaxed his guard, subconsciously overlooking the underwater creature. He had forgotten whether the creature would seek revenge now that its fondness for him had vanished. After all, he had disturbed this ancient octopus, causing it to lose a drop of what appeared to be precious blood. Wang Yu dared not gamble on the creature's absence from the depths of the sea, or hope it would forget him. If that prehistoric octopus were to emerge for revenge, there would be no escape on this vast ocean. The yacht beneath him offered no sense of security. Its considerable size of over 160 meters could easily drag the yacht into the depths. Seeing Wang Yu's grave expression, He Yujun hesitated before instructing the waiter to notify the captain to immediately turn the yacht back. The roar of the yacht's engine shattered the tranquility of the sea, and the propeller began to spin as they sped away, leaving 2 trails of water behind. Wang Yu gripped the railing of the deck, his gaze firmly fixed on the surface of the sea, and only dared to release his white-knuckled grip once they had completely departed from that area. He Yujun approached Wang Yu, savoring the sea breeze, and followed his gaze, asking why the rush to leave. He studied Wang Yu's eyes, puzzled. He had always known Wang Yu to be calm and unruffled, as if nothing in the world could stir his heart. Yet just moments ago, a flicker of urgency and an almost imperceptible fear had shown through Wang Yu's demeanor. Reflecting on Wang Yu's prolonged stay at the ocean's depths, He Yujun sensed something amiss. Surely, some unfathomable incident had transpired. Otherwise, Wang Yu would not exhibit such a reaction. Brother Wang Yu, the winds upon the sea are growing increasingly fierce. Let us retreat to our quarters, He Chaoyan urged, anxiously glancing at the taciturn Wang Yu. Very well. Wang Yu cast another glance at the waters behind him, where only ordinary fish swam. Yet, an inexplicable unease gnawed at his heart. The group made their way to a spacious bar within the vessel. Once seated, the bartender prepared several signature cocktails and placed them before them. He Yujun took a sip and consulted his phone's map. We have now ventured over 10 kilometers from that area. Shall we discuss the reason for your lengthy absence? Noticing the expectant expressions on their faces, Wang Yu lowered his voice and inquired, Do you know why I remained submerged for so long? I do not, He Yujun replied bluntly. He Chaoyan shook her head slowly, adding, Initially you mentioned descending for merely half an hour, yet you were gone for much longer. The bodyguards even dove in search of you, yet found nothing, not even a fish below. Earlier that afternoon, Wang Yu and He Yujun had caught numerous fish, yet now, reflecting upon it, it all seemed rather peculiar. Shi Mengyao and He Zhaoshan nodded in agreement, as this dilemma had also perplexed them. Wang Yu, not wishing to conceal the truth, stated plainly, I descended to the ocean's deepest depths and encountered a terrifying sea monster, nearly perishing in its presence. The fish must have sensed the impending danger and fled. A sea monster? He Yujun was taken aback, instinctively exclaiming, Surely, this cannot be the reason you insisted we vacate that area. It seems utterly absurd. But the sonar detected nothing. He Chaoyan interjected, astonishment evident in her voice. Wang Yu countered, To what depth can a ship's sonar probe? The maximum depth should be around 1,000 meters, He Zhaoshan chimed in. Precisely. It was merely 1,000 meters deep where I discovered this creature, beneath a submerged mountain range. The sea monster was an enormous octopus, measuring a staggering 160 meters in length. Wang Yu recounted, still feeling a shiver of fear. Shi Mengyao, seated beside He Yujun, could not contain her laughter. Upon hearing her outburst, the others turned their attention toward her. I merely had an itch in my nose. Please continue. She hastily waved her hands. To encounter a sea monster is indeed unfortunate, He Yujun remarked, his shoulders shaking as he struggled to suppress his laughter. He raised his glass to clink with Wang Yu's, inquiring, Pray tell, what did it look like? How does it differ from a common octopus? It possesses 8 appendages, each as thick as a car, Wang Yu asserted, aware of their skepticism, yet continuing. Moreover, it can comprehend human thoughts and even create art. It is simply ludicrous. Chaoyan, Zhaoshan, you must believe me. We believe you. He Chaoyan and He Zhaoshan exchanged glances, striving to maintain their composure amidst their amusement. Although they desperately wished to believe Wang Yu, the absurdity of his claims made it difficult for them to accept. A giant octopus over 100 meters long was one thing, but the notion that it could comprehend human thoughts and even create art was truly astonishing, challenging their long-held worldview. Yet, the peculiar nature of that sea area was undeniable. An abundance of fish had mysteriously vanished without a trace. Wang Yu felt somewhat helpless, aware that He Yujun and the others were skeptical of his words, a reaction he could understand. Had anyone told him before today that such a colossal sea creature existed beneath the waves, he would have dismissed it as fanciful fiction, perhaps even ridiculed the speaker for indulging in too many novels. However, having experienced it firsthand, Wang Yu grasped the terrifying reality of its existence. Fortunately, the yacht had drifted far enough away. Once they returned to land, they need not fear it any longer. In the face of modern technology, as long as it remained a carbon-based life form, it posed little threat. At that moment, the wind over the sea intensified, causing the yacht to sway amidst the surging waves. A glass tumbler, caught in the tumult, slipped from its place and shattered on the floor. Wang Yu's gaze swept over the darkening waters outside, his expression grave. He could only silently pray that the deep-sea behemoth would not harbor a grudge. traveling great distances to seek vengeance upon him. Chapter 357. You get a pass. The winds continue to strengthen, the waves crashing violently against the yacht, causing it to list from side to side. The captain relayed a message indicating that the government had issued a maritime gale warning. The winds and waves were escalating, and the yacht could no longer proceed. He suggested finding a nearby channel to anchor and wait for the storm to subside. He-Yu-jun concurred with his recommendation. The yacht turned, navigating in a different direction. Although Wang Yu remained somewhat anxious, he felt compelled to heed the advice of the professionals in such weather. The group's desire for amusement dissipated, and they returned to their cabins to rest. After He-Yu-jun and Shi Mengyao retreated to their room, he retrieved his phone, eager to engage in an exhilarating canyon duel. However, Shi Mengyao swiftly snatched the device from him. "What are you doing, Mengyao? It's still early. Let me have a turn." He-Yu-jun protested, attempting to reclaim his phone, but she promptly powered it down. Feeling utterly defeated, He-Yu-jun lamented silently about his teammates. "It's not that I want to log off. I've been subdued by a fierce tigress." "Do you think what Wang Yu said is true?" Shi Mengyao inquired, ignoring He-Yu-jun's despondent expression and speaking in a conspiratorial tone. "You can't seriously believe that, can you?" He-Yu-jun shook his head vigorously, dismissing the notion. "There are no sea monsters in this world. Wang Yu is surely just concerned about the bad weather and wants to return for safety. Those stories are merely to frighten you girls." He-Yu-jun wrapped his arms around Shi Mengyao, who squirmed in his embrace but found herself firmly held in place. "I have a feeling it's not that simple," she countered. "Think about it. Wang Yu has always been the serious type, unflappable in the face of adversity. Did you see his expression just now?" "Yes," He-Yu-jun nodded. "What could possibly provoke such a reaction from Wang Yu? I don't believe he is the type to make such juvenile jokes." Shi Mengyao reflected on Wang Yu's expression at that moment, analyzing it carefully. Furthermore, upon activating the sonar aboard the vessel, it was peculiar that not a single fish was detected in the water. Such an occurrence defies logic. That adorable white dolphin likely fled around that time, eluding any pursuit. "What exactly are you trying to say?" He-Yu-jun rolled her eyes in exasperation, stating, "The average depth of the Pacific Ocean is around 5,000 meters, where a giant octopus over 100 meters long supposedly resides. Is that even plausible? Do you have any idea how immense the water pressure is at such depths? Although some octopuses can survive in extreme environments over 100 meters, that seems utterly impossible. Such a colossal body structure would hinder its movement on the ocean floor. Even if such a sea monster existed, it could not thrive in the deep sea." He-Yu-jun looked at Shi Mengyao, who still seemed eager to argue. "So you still believe?" "Yes. While your analysis is quite reasonable, I still find it odd." Shi Mengyao bit her nails, her eyes reflecting inner turmoil. For some reason, she felt that Wang Yu was not lying to deceive them. In the brief span of just half a day, she sensed that Wang Yu was a dependable individual, unlike He-Yu-jun, who often seemed frivolous and unreliable, akin to a child in her eyes. "Oh dear, stop overthinking it." He-Yu-jun sighed in resignation. "Even if there were an octopus monster, we are aboard a yacht. Such a large vessel cannot be easily damaged. We are perfectly safe here. But if that sea monster really appears, will you protect me?" Shi Mengyao looked up into He-Yu-jun's eyes, teasingly. "I'm a third-degree black belt in Taekwondo." He-Yu-jun immediately pounded his chest, confidently proclaiming, "The last time at the gym, I shattered the punching bag with a single blow. If that octopus monster dares to approach, I will deliver a series of kicks that will leave its 8 tentacles utterly disoriented." Suddenly, he knelt on one knee, grasping Shi Mengyao's hand. "Darling, rest assured. My life belongs to you. Not even Godzilla could withstand my might. You may pass this time." Meanwhile, in Wang Yu's room, he emerged from the bathroom, his body still glistening from the shower. Once he sank into bed, embracing the fragrant and soft He Jiaoyan, he felt a wave of tranquility wash over him. "If anything seems amiss, remember to stay close to me." Wang Yu gently kissed He Jiaoyan. She curled up in his embrace, her fingers unconsciously tracing his chest. "Yes, I will never leave your side again. I was terrified just now." Wang Yu gazed out the window at the lightning and thunder, the tumultuous waves crashing. "Remember what I said. Tonight may bring trouble. Do you think that giant octopus will come looking for us?" He Jiaoyan, filled with curiosity, inquired. Suddenly, a blinding flash of white lightning illuminated the cabin as if it were broad daylight, followed by a deafening thunder that reverberated across the sea, causing the yacht to tremble slightly. Startled by the sudden lightning, He Jiaoyan instinctively shrank closer to Wang Yu. He protectively enveloped her in his embrace, his gaze warily fixed on the tumultuous sea outside the porthole. Fear not, I am here, Wang Yu softly reassured her, cradling He Chaolian. Nestled in his arms, she felt an overwhelming sense of security, gradually regaining her composure. Her eyes sparkled with a tender glimmer as they locked onto Wang Yu's vulnerable lips. Wang Yu's body quivered, and he slowly lowered his head, a fiery passion igniting in his eyes. Having already faced life and death earlier that day, his nerves were taut. Yet, at that moment, provoked by He Chaolian's gaze, he could no longer restrain himself and pressed his lips against hers. Brother Wang Yu, He Chaolian murmured, wrapping her arms around his neck, leaning in to meet him. The kiss began softly, like a feather's caress, yet it gradually intensified amidst their hurried breaths. Wang Yu's hand traversed her spine, igniting shivers within her. He drew her closer, wishing to meld her into his very being. Their breaths intertwined, hearts synchronized. Within the confines of the small cabin, Wang Yu cast aside his worries, leaving only the fervent love they shared, which permeated the air. The thunder, rain, and crashing waves outside blended together, forming a symphony to their intimacy. Meanwhile, the storm intensified, with thunder booming and winds howling. The yacht finally located a suitable anchorage, and the captain commanded the anchor to be dropped, securing their position. With the yacht's substantial size and the timely anchoring, they found stability amidst the tempest. Regardless of the severity of the weather outside, there was no fear that the yacht would falter. Chapter 358. It truly has come. In the dead of night, the area where Wang Yu, He Jun, and others had previously enjoyed a dolphin ride was enveloped in a darkness as thick as ink. The winds howled, and monstrous waves roiled. Crack! Boom! A purple lightning bolt cleaved through the heavy clouds, illuminating the tumultuous waves below. The sea suddenly boiled, becoming increasingly turbulent. A massive whirlpool formed at a visible speed, the water turning murky. Accompanied by a resounding explosion, a tentacle as thick as a yard broke through the surface. Following that, 7 more tentacles surged forth from beneath the waves, reaching skyward and thrashing wildly. The suction cups glinted threateningly with sharp fangs. A colossal head gradually emerged, its body marred by grotesque lumps that instilled dread in onlookers. It furiously lashed the sea, generating towering waves that soared dozens of meters high, while the tooth-like suction cups at the tentacle tips shredded floating debris into a fine paste. The splashes mingled with a sickly sweet spray of blood. Lightning once again tore through the heavens, illuminating the colossal eyes of the prehistoric octopus. Its murky pupils were filled with a savage crimson glare, reminiscent of an enraged ancient beast. Beneath it slowly emerged the carcass of a blue whale. Its 8 tentacles writhed through the air like giant serpents, and 2 suddenly ensnared the whale's body, pulling with immense force, causing the creature to splinter into fragments. The shattered remains of the whale erupted on the surface of the sea, creating a crimson mist as its flesh and entrails were drawn into the octopus's suction cups, producing an unsettling crunching sound. A grotesque bulge atop its head began to secrete a dark green slime, which dripped down its tentacles into the water, where it stirred up clouds of white smoke, causing struggling fish to flip belly up to the surface. The ancient behemoth turned its gaze towards a particular direction and let out a deep, menacing roar before abruptly plunging into the depths, agitating the water and creating a miniature tsunami as it sped away. Its swimming speed was remarkable, and many fish and shrimp caught in the tumult were left dazed on the ocean floor. Time passed, though it felt unmeasurable, until it halted its movements, slowly revealing its form amidst the raging winds and towering waves. Its already crimson eyes glared furiously at a brightly lit yacht on the horizon. Then it submerged once more, vanishing from sight. At that moment, Wang Yu was cradling a sleeping He Chaolian, occasionally glancing through the panoramic glass window at the intensifying storm outside. He gently closed his eyes, yet sleep eluded him. His extraordinary physique, combined with the prowess of a martial arts master, endowed him with a heightened sixth sense unique to ancient warriors, stirring an unease within him. He Chaolian, nestled in his arms, murmured in her sleep, her brow furrowed. Wang Yu looked down at her, his eyes filled with affection. Suddenly, his heart raced violently. He bolted awake, rushing to the panoramic window to peer outside. What met his gaze was the tumultuous sea, unnaturally boiling around the yacht, as countless bubbles surged from the depths in a bizarre display. With a thunderous roar, a familiar tentacle shot forth, aiming swiftly at Wang Yu. Holy hell, it's really here, he exclaimed, turning quickly and rolling with He Chaolian into the corner of the cabin. The massive suction cup of the tentacle struck the panoramic glass window with a deafening crash, shattering the tempered glass as if it were mere paper under the might of the colossal appendage. There was no sense of safety. Salty sea water, mingled with shards of glass, rushed toward them, startling He Chaolian awake, her scream lodged in her throat. Through the broken window frame, the murky red gaze of the prehistoric octopus bored down upon them, the veins on its bulging eyes pulsating with each breath. The creature's roar caused the cabin chandelier to plummet violently, and Wang Yu seized He Chaolian's wrist, tumbling through the falling debris towards the door. The corridor of the yacht remained relatively intact, though decorative vases lay scattered across the floor. As the terrifying crimson eyes vanished from her sight, He Chaolian gradually regained her senses. She swallowed hard and, clutching Wang Yu's arm, tremblingly inquired, "Brother Wang Yu, is this the prehistoric octopus you mentioned earlier?" "Indeed, it is," Wang Yu affirmed with certainty. "This monstrous octopus is the very one I encountered in the depths of the sea. It has come to exact its revenge upon me. This is a grave predicament." A look of gravity filled Wang Yu's eyes. Screams echoed throughout the yacht, accompanied by the thunderous blows of tentacles striking the vessel. Fortunately, this luxurious yacht, having cost a considerable fortune, proved resilient. Despite the relentless assault from such an unfathomably terrifying creature, the hull remained intact. Once He Chaolian managed to calm her nerves somewhat, she and Wang Yu made their way to the central entertainment area of the yacht. He Yu-jun, Shi Mengyao, and He Chaoxin had already gathered there, alongside numerous panicked waitstaff who had collapsed to the floor. Most of them were young women, clearly unaccustomed to such chaos, their faces etched with terror as they wept openly. Upon seeing Wang Yu arrive, He Yu-jun hurried over, exclaiming, "What do we do now? The prehistoric octopus you spoke of is indeed pursuing us. I thought you were exaggerating. Yet here we are." He Yu-jun's mind was consumed by the image of those colossal tentacles, dancing and thrashing in the night sky, shrouding the heavens. He vividly recalled the moment when even his breath had ceased. Some bodyguards stationed on the deck, caught off guard, were swept away by the octopus's unexpectedly flailing tentacles, as if they were mere leaves caught in a tempest. The monstrous, blood-red eyes scanned He Yu-jun's hiding spot, and the merciless, murderous gaze sent chills coursing through his veins. "What are we to do? We're going to die here." He Yu-jun's voice trembled, cold sweat cascading down his forehead. He Chaoxin, biting her lip and with tears brimming in her eyes, approached Wang Yu, sobbing, "Brother Wang Yu, I am so frightened. It's terrifying." "Do not worry. I am here," Wang Yu reassured her, placing a hand on her shoulder in comfort. Shi Mengyao struggled to maintain her composure, yet her delicate frame involuntarily quivered. She knew Wang Yu had not been lying. His words were indeed true. He had encountered a prehistoric octopus over 100 meters long beneath the waves. Gripping He Yu-jun's arm tightly, she stammered, "Wang Yu, what should we do now? Perhaps we should contact the military immediately to summon a warship for our rescue." "Very well. I will have someone reach out to the stationed forces in Australia at once." Wang Yu's gaze swept the room, taking in the weeping waitstaff and the bodyguards wearing expressions of dread. Frowning, he called out sharply, "Shadow, where is Darkhawk?" Chapter 359. The tide of battle has shifted. At your service. Two dark figures swiftly entered through the nearby window, kneeling before Wang Yu. The air was filled with a thunderous roar, accompanied by the creaking sounds of metal fracturing throughout the yacht. Without a moment to ponder, Wang Yu assisted the two and inquired, "What is the situation outside?" "Young Master Wang, the situation is dire. This sea creature possesses formidable strength, and the yacht may not endure for much longer." One of the shadows responded gravely. "What is this?" He Yu-jun asked Wang Yu, intrigued. "Just a bodyguard arranged by my family," Wang Yu replied, glancing at the stern-faced Shao before continuing. "Since the yacht cannot withstand its devastation, is there a way to resolve this? Can we kill it or drive it away?" The shadow hesitated, yet resolutely stated, "It is impossible to completely eliminate it. Being at sea, we cannot prevent its escape. However, injuring it sufficiently to drive it away is feasible." "Very well. Let us drive it away without sustaining injuries. Be careful." Wang Yu watched the two as they proceeded toward the exit, his expression grave. Although he was uncertain of the true capabilities of Shao and the Shadow, he was acutely aware of the creature's immense power outside. To avert unforeseen circumstances, Wang Yu took out his phone and informed Wang Jiangwo of the unfolding events. Initially shocked, Wang Jiangwo soon believed him upon realizing the truth of the situation. "Do not take any risks. You must act swiftly. Otherwise, your precious son may perish here," came a voice from above, accompanied by the sound of metal fatigue tearing apart, prompting Wang Yu to jest, truly a source of concern. However, this minor issue will be handled by Xiao and the Shadow. After that, Wang Jingwo ended the call. Wang Yu gazed at his phone, lost in contemplation. Weren't Xiao and the Shadow truly that formidable for Wang Jingwo to trust them so? After Wang Yu sought assistance from home, He Yujun, He Chaoxin, and Shi Mingyao visibly relaxed. He Chaoxin patted her chest, still shaken, and said, "Then let us wait for rescue here. Stay put and do not wander. I will go outside to assess the situation," he declared. "Brother Wang Yu, please do not venture out. That giant octopus is utterly terrifying," He Chaoyan pleaded, tugging on Wang Yu's arm. "Indeed, Wang Yu, with these bodyguards present, let them handle it. After all, we have invested so much in hiring them. Now is the time for them to prove their worth," He Yujun added. "It's fine," Wang Yu smiled, disregarding their counsel as he strode toward the exit. Outside, the tentacles continued to batter the yacht relentlessly. Some tentacles had even managed to invade through the shattered windows and doors, though their size hindered their movement once inside. The composed bodyguards, under the captain's direction, began an organized counterattack. Yet, their limited equipment rendered items like knives and clubs mere toys in the face of such a creature. Even electric batons, which had managed to inflict wounds, healed almost instantaneously. The blue blood that oozed from the severed appendage dripped onto the yacht's deck, corroding the surface beneath. The creature's tentacles, sensing pain, became increasingly frenzied. With a swift motion, a single tentacle coiled around a bodyguard, snapping bones with a sickening crack, blood spraying forth as the man succumbed to death. Captain Zhang, witnessing the horror, clenched his teeth and brandished a large machete exceeding a meter in length. Leading the charge, brothers, forward! This beast possesses formidable regenerative abilities, but the electric batons can temporarily incapacitate it. We will alternate our cover and strike with our blades. Be cautious of its corrosive blood. Steer it towards the deck's edge. Before he could finish, he deftly dodged a sweeping tentacle, his blade slicing through the creature's limb as blue blood burst forth. With a mighty roar, he plunged the machete deep into the tentacle, declaring, "We cannot retreat. If this yacht sinks, we shall all become fish food." As his words echoed, a lean bodyguard seized 2 electric batons, crossing them into a crucifix, and thrust them forcefully towards the colossal tentacle before him. The air crackled with electricity as the creature let out a piercing wail, swinging its appendage in retaliation. The bodyguard rolled closer, driving his weapon into the joint, only to be struck from behind by a suddenly lunging tentacle, crashing against the railing. "Be careful!" The remaining bodyguards, summoning their courage, surged forward with their blades. In a fleeting moment, the tentacles bore countless wounds, and the creature's blood spilled everywhere. Wang Yu, a fierce determination etched on his face, picked up a sharp broadsword, channeling all his strength as he struck at the beleaguered appendage. The sickening sound of blade meeting flesh mingled with the creature's deafening roar. With a single stroke, he carved a deep gash, revealing blue-purple flesh within, the viscous blood erupting like a fountain, forcing Wang Yu to bend low to evade the spray. The blood-soaked deck began to emit wisps of white smoke. "Impressive skills, Wang Xiao," Captain Zhang exclaimed, genuinely surprised, giving him a thumbs up. Wang Yu, observing the writhing tentacle, chuckled softly. Deep beneath the sea, under immense pressure, he had felt helpless against this primordial octopus, knowing escape was his only option. Yet now, the tides had turned. The creature had unwittingly approached him, and he would not let it go unchallenged. Before anyone could catch their breath, a severed tentacle suddenly writhed back to life, lunging towards them like a resurrected serpent. The reborn appendage surged forward, the open suckers revealing sharp teeth. Wang Yu's pupils constricted, and with a powerful leap from the deck, he spun in mid-air, his sword carving a crescent of silver light. The blade struck the prominent joint of the tentacle, but became ensnared in its resilient flesh, the creature seizing the moment to hurl him violently to the ground. "Break!" Wang Yu shouted fiercely, his arms bulging with strain as he utilized his downward momentum to twist his waist and channel his strength. Sparks flew from the blade as it tore through the resilient inner muscle of the tentacle, finally rupturing. Without allowing the creature a moment to react, he pivoted, the blade striking like a venomous serpent, plunging directly into the wound. A column of blue-purple blood erupted skyward as the creature's internal nerve bundles were severed. In the distance, the creature emitted a mournful cry, its remaining tentacles retreating in a frenzy. Upon landing, Wang Yuluo staggered back 3 steps, his gaze fixed on a thoroughly incapacitated, severed limb twitching in a pool of blood, while acrid white smoke wafted from blade. Captain Zhang and the other bodyguards stood in stunned silence, their jaws nearly touching the ground. Was this truly the feeble scion of a wealthy family they had envisioned? How could he be fiercer than them? Before Captain Zhang could express his astonishment, he hurriedly approached, concern etched on his face. Young Master Wang, are you unharmed? This place is perilous. Leave it to us. After scrutinizing Wang Yuluo and confirming he was uninjured, he felt a wave of relief wash over him. Prior to their voyage, Elder He had repeatedly emphasized the necessity of safeguarding Wang Yuluo's safety. If anything were to befall him, Captain Zhang could hardly fathom how to face Elder He. Chapter 360. Concern proves unnecessary. Wang Yuluo took a deep breath. Protect He Chaolian and the others. Do not worry about me. Without glancing back, he strode purposefully toward the deck. Young Master Wang, please don't go. Captain Zhang clenched his fists, anxiously watching Wang Yuluo's retreating figure. Wang Yuluo merely waved his hand dismissively and said no more. After walking a short distance, he spotted two uniformed men rushing toward him. The elder of the two bore a gash on his leg, blood soaking his trousers. Wang Yuluo stepped forward to intercept them, inquiring, "You two are the captains, correct? What is the current status of the yacht?" Initially irate at being halted, the two men's expressions shifted to reverence upon recognizing Wang Yuluo. "Young Master Wang, what are you doing here? Quickly, we must get inside." The elderly captain, wincing from the pain in his leg, lamented, "In all my years at sea, even as a retired naval officer, this is the first time I have encountered a sea monster. It is truly unfathomable." The younger man echoed, "Indeed, how unfortunate to encounter such a creature." Wang Yuluo, feeling somewhat embarrassed, nonetheless insisted, "Enough chatter. Tell me the current damage to the yacht." The elderly captain, though anxious, replied patiently, "Thus far, the yacht's hull remains intact, and the engine is functioning properly. However, many facilities have been utterly destroyed." "What do you mean?" Wang Yuluo's gaze sharpened as he interjected with a cold snort. "The iron chain connecting the yacht to the anchor has been compromised," the captain continued. "Now, the yacht is adrift at sea, and coupled with the monster's destruction and pressure, there's a significant risk it may sink." Such severity. Wang Yuluo was taken aback. The first officer, exasperated, remarked, "What did you expect? This is merely a yacht, not a naval warship. That it has withstood such damage without sinking immediately is already commendable." "All right, I understand. You may go inside." Wang Yuluo released his grip on the two men, turning to leave. The captains exchanged glances, wanting to voice their concerns, but ultimately fell silent, recognizing the value of their own lives. If Wang Yuluo wished to court death, let him do so. They had already attempted to dissuade him, and his fate was no longer their concern. They returned to the deck. Amidst the torrential downpour, Shadow and Dark Owl engaged in a fierce struggle with a prehistoric giant octopus. Wang Yu's gaze sharpened, for as a master of combat, he discerned the techniques employed by the two. Shadow executed a bear-like stance, his back as steadfast as an iron post, wielding a three-edged military dagger that transformed into a powerful strike. As he cleaved through the oncoming tentacles with the back of his blade, his wrist suddenly twisted, driving the blade deep into the creature's limb, a deadly maneuver known as the knife strike of Huashan from Xingyi boxing. Blood erupted forth as Shadow pivoted into a tiger stance, his dagger carving a semicircular trajectory, simultaneously inflicting deep gashes into three entangled tentacles. Dark Owl, resembling a nimble monkey, wielded dual Ame daggers with grace. The Ame wind chase technique emphasizes the use of short weapons as she danced about, deftly avoiding sprays of venom with her toes lightly touching the ground. With a sudden thrust of her dagger towards the creature's limb, the prehistoric octopus recoiled in pain, retaliating by sweeping another tentacle towards her. However, she pressed forward, positioning herself against the inner side of the limb, her daggers piercing through the gaps between the suckers, creating a wide array of wounds, eliciting a muffled roar of agony from the beast. "Beware of its acidic spray," Shadow warned as he observed the creature's pulsating mass atop its head. In a moment of urgency, he employed the serpent-like body technique, brandishing his dagger like a striking viper, leaping towards the octopus's head. Yet, the creature exploited a gap in his defense, ensnaring Shadow's thigh with a tentacle and hurling him away with great force. At that instant, Dark Owl executed a swift maneuver, her daggers crossing like scissors to sever two tentacles poised to unleash their acidic spray. The blue ichor erupted around them, yet their elusive footwork allowed them to evade the onslaught. Noticing Wang Yu's arrival, They swiftly approached him, flanking his sides for protection. Young Master Wang, what brings you here? It's perilous. You must return to the cabin at once. Shadow urged. I came to see if you needed assistance, Wang Yu explained. Dark Owl cast a curious glance at him, her expression filled with intrigue. It seems this sea monster is no match for you. My concerns were unwarranted, Wang Yu remarked coolly. He then activated his true eye to gaze upon Dark Owl. Name, Chun Fengyan. Dark Owl, age, 32, height, 170 centimeters, charm, 89, physique, 183, favorability, 80, skills, a May Wind Chase unviewable, a May Law Elephant Fist unviewable. Having not seen Dark Owl previously, his current observation revealed a formidable woman, a master of ancient martial arts. The distinctive techniques of a May Wind Chase and a May Law Elephant Fist hinted at her potential ties to the Amei school. However, now was not the time for inquiries. Wang Yu suppressed his questions within. The giant octopus's massive suckers scraped the deck with a deafening sound as its crimson vertical pupils narrowed into perilous slits. The severed tentacles oozed a vibrant blue slime, with shredded flesh writhing like boiling tar, swiftly regenerating into sharp suckers in the blink of an eye. The undulating tentacles lashed violently against the ocean's surface, conjuring waves that soared over 10 meters high, their briny spray mingling with a blue, acidic liquid, etching countless pockmarks into the ship's hull. The injuries inflicted by the shadowy figures were healing at an alarming rate. Wang Yu's pupils constricted as he observed the folds of flesh mending before his very eyes, even the fractured bones emitting a disconcerting, cracking sound. Upon spotting Wang Yu, the colossal octopus glared with palpable hatred, suddenly unleashing a deafening shriek. Countless robust arms emerged from beneath its massive head, thrashing about like dark gray tendrils, slicing through the air with a sharp whoosh. This is bad. It has entered a frenzied state. Young Master Wang, stay here and witness our true power. Dark Owl exclaimed as he noticed Wang Yu's eagerness with a blade, just as the primary tentacle of the octopus swept towards the trio like a giant python. Propelled by a fierce wind, Dark Owl's dual stiletto blades erupted with a gray luminescence, capturing Wang Yu's attention firmly. With a deft push from her toes against the mast, she launched herself forward like an arrow released from a bow, her movements tracing an uncanny arc through the air. The dual blades plunging into the fresh wounds of the octopus's tentacle with the grace of a swallow skimming the water's surface. Wherever the gray light touched, the regenerating flesh turned blackened, as if seared by intense flames, rapidly succumbing to decay. The triangular military dagger wielded by Shadow shimmered with the same gray hue, its bear-like stance shattering the wooden planks of the deck. With muscles taut as a drawn bow, the technique of cleaving Mount Hua was enhanced by the gray glow, intensifying its lethal edge. As the military dagger cleaved through the incoming tentacle, a gray current surged into the octopus's body through the gash. The formerly rapid healing of the tissue suddenly faltered, succumbing to a gradual decay. Chapter 361. What on earth is this? Witnessing the scene, Wang Yu's eyes erupted with a blinding brilliance. What is this gray current? Its destructive force is immense. Could this be the aspect that the eye of truth fails to perceive? With physiques comparable to Wang Yu, both Shadow and Dark Owl wielded this enigmatic gray light. Is this the true strength of ancient warriors that surpasses Xianglong and Xianghu? They are astonishingly powerful. With the enhancement of this gray light, Shadow and Dark Owl executed their moves just as before, yet their speed and destructive capabilities had significantly escalated. The octopus, in a fit of rage, whipped its tentacles, releasing a torrential downpour of viscous blue acid. Shadow danced with a serpentine grace, the military dagger's gray light striking repeatedly, piercing the octopus's suckers and producing a cascade of bursting blood droplets. The wounds ceased to heal. Instead, the lingering gray current began to corrode them slowly. Yet, the octopus's assault intensified. The once mighty tentacles began to shimmer with a dark glow, splitting the original 8 into dozens of slightly smaller appendages, twisting and coiling like a giant serpent. Dark Owl and Shadow exchanged a knowing glance, simultaneously unleashing their power. Young Master Wang, this is the true strength of ancient warriors. Take heed. Dragon collapse, piercing the sun. Shadow sank low, muscles taut as a drawn bow, the gray light swirling around the military dagger, manifesting a faint, ethereal gray dragon behind her. Amidst the tumultuous roar, he propelled himself forth like an arrow released from its bow, the military dagger imbued with immense force, aimed directly at the octopus's neck. The phantom of a flood dragon roared as it merged with the gray radiance, and where it passed, the air erupted with a series of explosive sounds. The shadowy figure of the dark owl forcefully shattered the deck beneath its feet, launching its body skyward. The crescent-shaped dagger tracing a luminous arc overhead. The gray light coalesced into a palpable form in the void, transforming into a pair of phantom eagles poised for flight. With a clarion call, she unleashed the twin daggers, accompanied by a fierce sound that pierced the air, targeting the octopus's crimson vertical eye. The eagle phantoms swiftly plunged into the gray light, embodying the ferocity of spatial rending. The flood dragon phantom collided with the eagle's fierce momentum against the octopus's body, unleashing a blinding flash at the moment of impact. The scales on the octopus's neck shattered, piece by piece. The shadow's military dagger pierced through its resilient exterior as effortlessly as a hot knife through butter, while the flood dragon phantom burrowed into the wound, detonating deep within its flesh and reducing half of its neck to a mass of mangled meat. Simultaneously, the dark owl's twin crescent daggers struck accurately into the octopus's vertical pupil. The eagle phantom, enveloped in gray light, whirled with a frenzy akin to a drill, reducing the octopus's left eye to a pulpy mess, the viscous fluid mingling with shredded flesh that gushed forth. The massive head was torn apart by the two forces, eliciting a thunderous wail from the octopus, the sound waves causing the sea to surge and boil. It thrashed violently, dozens of tentacles flailing like uncontrolled steel whips. Yet its strength was diminished by the excruciating pain. The gray light continued to wreak havoc at the wound, stifling any regeneration of flesh and blood. Beneath the torn skin, ghastly white bones and churning organs were visible, with one side of its head nearly severed, barely held together by a few strands of flesh. The crimson blood staining the vast expanse of the sea. Its body flickered with an uncertain azure glow, attempting to mend the injuries. But the stubborn gray light lingering over the wounds thwarted any healing efforts. In desperation, the octopus's remaining eye, a furious crimson, seemed on the verge of weeping blood, as it roared in anger towards Wang Yu and his companions. The single eye erupted with frenzied crimson light, and its colossal body shuddered violently, the azure glow pulsating as if ablaze. With a sudden toss of its head, a torrent of corrosive slime gushed forth from its torn head. Seizing the moment as the shadow and dark owl evaded, its gargantuan form plummeted into the depths of the sea. Did not think to escape, the shadow bellowed, its serpentine form in close pursuit, the military dagger igniting once more with gray light, chasing after the sinking figure of the octopus. The dark owl sprang from the ground, utilizing the ropes of the sail to propel itself forward, the crescent daggers carving intersecting arcs of gray light, aiming to block the octopus's retreat. However, the octopus, despite its injuries, accelerated rather than slowed. Its remaining tentacles churned the water, creating a massive whirlpool. The shadow's military dagger barely grazed the octopus's tail, inflicting a substantial wound, but was suddenly met with a tentacle that struck fiercely against its chest, sending the figure flying like a severed kite. The dark owl's twin daggers embedded into the side of the octopus, yet proved futile against its violent thrashing. Before they could fully comprehend the situation, the octopus vanished into the depths of the swirling waves, leaving behind a sea stained with vast pools of crimson blood and shattered remnants of tentacles. Observing the fleeing beast, Wang Yu sighed. It has managed to escape. Aning gracefully landed, her dual daggers scraping against the deck, sending sparks flying. Wiping away the octopus slime that had splattered on her cheek, she furrowed her brows and remarked, "The ocean is its domain. If it wishes to leave, we truly cannot stop it." She bent down to pick up a half-wriggling octopus tentacle, and with a flash of gray light, she completely carbonized it. It has been tainted by the murky energy of both myself and the shadows, leaving it gravely wounded. It will not dare to trouble us again for the time being. The shadow approached, the gray aura surrounding him gradually dissipating. He tore open the tattered sleeve corroded by the octopus slime, revealing his well-defined forearm, and raised an eyebrow at Ning. "Wang Xiao, Ning speaks the truth. Without recovering from its injuries, this creature will not dare to return. If it does, it shall not escape so easily." He kicked away a twitching octopus sucker at his feet and, with the tip of his military dagger, lifted a piece of still glowing flesh, scoffing. "However, this creature possesses astonishing regenerative abilities. My dragon collapsing sunstrike had clearly shattered half of its cranial structure, yet it still managed to retreat into the deep sea." Should I encounter it again, I will ensure it learns that the techniques of Xingyi Quan encompass more than just this one strike. Wang Yu's gaze was fixed intently on the glowing flesh on the Shadow's dagger. The true eye revealing the intricate patterns of its bizarre regenerative tissue in vivid clarity, causing his throat to involuntarily constrict. He reached out as if to grasp the lingering gray light in the air. The gray energy from your earlier techniques is remarkably distinct from ordinary ancient martial arts energy. It seems akin to a force capable of eroding life itself. Before he could finish, he suddenly crouched down, his fingertips gliding over the still wet octopus blood on the deck. The dark red liquid emitted a hissing sound upon contact with his skin, releasing wisps of white smoke. Wang Yu sprang up, a glimmer of excitement flashing in his eyes. Even the blood possesses corrosive properties. This creature surpasses our understanding. Yet your gray energy can restrain its regeneration. What precisely is this force? Wang Yu's face was alight with enthusiasm. The Shadow, upon hearing this, manifested a strange gray stream of energy enveloping his palm. He smiled and said, "Look closely." Wang Yu focused intently, feeling as though he were nearing a fragment of the world's truth, trembling with exhilaration. He gazed at the brilliant gray, sensing it seemed to amalgamate the most unsavory aspects of existence. Greed, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt were all contained within. Pride, jealousy, wrath, laziness, gluttony, lust, everything was present. The epitome of negative energy lay before him in full display. After staring for a while, a hint of dizziness clouded his mind. Wang Yu was taken aback, feeling goosebumps rising all over his body. Chapter 362. The filthy world of five turbidities. The Shadow regarded the gray energy enveloping his hand with a grave expression. His voice low. This is the result of diligently cultivating ancient martial arts to their utmost limit, perceiving the five turbidities and absorbing them into the Dantian, transforming them into the energy of the five turbidities. This represents another realm of ancient martial arts cultivation, the realm of turbid energy. Turbid energy? A look of confusion crossed Wang Yu's face. Dark Owl nodded, turning to Wang Yu with a smile. Indeed, the turbid realm is derived from the five turbidities of the malevolent world. The turbidity of calamity, the turbidity of sight, the turbidity of affliction, the turbidity of sentient beings, and the turbidity of life. These five forms of turbid energy intertwine, creating a force capable of eroding the vitality of all things. Suddenly, a deafening roar interrupted Wang Yu's thoughts, and the entire yacht began to shake violently. Wang Yu staggered, but with a firm step of his right foot against the floor, he steadied himself. The wooden planks on the deck groaned under the strain, cracks spreading like spiderwebs. Just as he felt the ground give way beneath him, he narrowly avoided falling into the gaping fissures as briny seawater surged forth, mixed with the viscous slime of octopus suckers. This beast dares to return. Dark Owl reacted swiftly, the gleaming edge of his Ame dagger slicing through the air, embedding itself into the mast. Using the leverage, he propelled himself to Wang Yu's side, pulling him up just as a towering column of water erupted from the direction of the cabin. The octopus, its tentacles thick as pillars, pierced through the hull, the metallic heel emitting a sharp wail under the pressure. Does it intend to destroy the ship? Dark Owl swept his shadowy blade, severing one of the returning tentacles, leaving a trail of charred remnants in its wake. Yet, more tentacles surged from all directions. With a thunderous boom, sparks erupted from the engine room, and a thick cloud of smoke mingled with the acrid scent of engine oil. The yacht's power system was utterly incapacitated. Water gushed into the vessel as it began to tilt dangerously. A prehistoric octopus emerged from the depths, revealing a single crimson eye, its vertical pupil shimmering with vengeful light beneath the surface. It cast a lingering glance at the few on the deck before sinking back into the depths, vanishing completely. Dark Owl glanced at the sinking stern, gritting his teeth in anger. What a beast! Knowing we cannot pursue it into the water, it dares to return and sabotage the engine. This is a predicament. Wang Yu cursed under his breath and turned towards the cabin. He soon arrived outside the hall and pushed the door open. As he entered, the air was filled with anguished cries and weeping. Most of the bodyguards were dutifully armed, vigilantly watching the outside, fearful of a sudden, terrifying tentacle emerging. Blood stained the hall, with a few ship's doctors sweating profusely as they tended to the wounded. Seeing Wang Yu return, Yu Jun and the others quickly inquired with concern, "What is happening outside? Why are there explosions?" "The engine is damaged, the hull is breached, and seawater is flooding in," Wang Yu replied in a hushed tone. Oh no, brother Wang Yu, what shall we do? Are we going to perish in the ocean? He Chaoyan and He Chaoxin displayed palpable panic. Given the presence of a monstrous sea creature and the yacht's condition, their fears were understandable. Even He Yu Jun felt a sense of despair upon hearing the news. Do not be so frightened. There is a silver lining. The sea monster has been driven away, Wang Yu said with a resigned smile, attempting to reassure them. Hearing this, He Chaoyan, He Chaoxin, and several others felt a slight easing of their trepidation, though fear still lingered on their faces. Although the most significant crisis has been resolved, the damage to the yacht remains a troubling concern. Wang Yu shook his head and inquired, Where are the two captains? I don't see them. Over there. He Yu Jun pointed towards the two captains lying in the corner of the hall. Wang Yu nodded and said, Everyone is quite anxious. Inform them that the crisis has been averted, but refrain from mentioning the flooding for now to avoid causing unnecessary panic. Understood. I will go find the captain and ask how to address this, He Yu Jun replied, forcing a brave facade. Wang Yu then approached the corner, crouching down to quietly ask, The engine compartment is taking on water. Is there any solution? What? Water ingress? Before the startled young captain could finish his exclamation, the elder with graying hair covered his mouth. Why the loudness? It's not a lost cause yet. Everyone is already in a state of panic. Let's not add to the chaos, the elder admonished. The young captain scratched his head, apologizing, My mistake. What do you mean it's not a lost cause? Wang Yu's eyes brightened, looking expectantly at the elder. This yacht was custom built at a high price, with a strong emphasis on safety features. Right now, it's just that one compartment taking on water. I can simply close the watertight door. The captain was about to rise and head outside when he suddenly froze in place before slowly sitting back down, awkwardly stating, Well, Mr. Wang, it's dangerous outside. We should let the bodyguard handle it. Enough with the chatter. Come with me quickly. The sea monster has been injured and fled, Wang Yu said with a wry smile, shaking his head in resignation. The young captain's eyes widened in disbelief. You mean the sea monster has escaped? He instinctively tightened his grip on the handrail, leaning towards the porthole. The once tumultuous sea now only echoed with the sound of rain pelting the deck and the faint gurgle of water entering the hull, was devoid of the prior bone-chilling roars. The elder's face lit up with a glimmer of hope, and he urged, What are you waiting for? If the seawater reaches the cockpit, we will all be fish food. Shally, hurry and follow Mr. Wang to close the watertight door. Yes, Captain. The young first mate sprang to his feet, but, in his haste, bumped into the elder's leg. Watch it, you reckless youth. Take it easy, the elder exclaimed in pain, clutching his leg, his face contorting in discomfort. I'm sorry. He fumbled an apology before hastily opening the cabin door and stepping outside. The briny sea breeze mingled with rainwater struck his face as he cautiously peered outside, surveying the surroundings before feeling relieved. Mr. Wang, I am Li Hang, the first mate of this yacht. You can call me Shaoli, he said, wiping the rainwater off his face. Wang Yu nodded, glancing at the approaching shadows of the dark figures and remarked, They haven't returned yet, have they? Rest assured, Mr. Wang, I just ventured into the water to inspect. It has indeed departed, Shaoli replied. The shadow's expression grew grave as he remarked, The hull is taking on water severely. I inspected it underwater and found a sizable breach. It seems irreparable. Perhaps we should have young Master Wang send a vessel over urgently? Anxiously interjected in Shao. Chapter 363. Why the sudden deterioration? Elder He Hong has already been informed of the situation here, and our rescue ship is en route. At that moment, Little Li chimed in. Moreover, this ship cannot sink. Just close the floodgates. Both in Ing and in Shao rejoiced, their greatest concern alleviated, allowing them to breathe easier. Given their capabilities, even adrift at sea for 3 days would pose no peril. However, their mission was to safeguard Wang Yu. If the yacht were to truly submerge and endanger Wang Yu, accountability to their superior would be a grave matter. All right, you and an Ing stay vigilant for that giant octopus's return, while Little Li and I prepare to secure the floodgates, Wang Yu commanded. An Ing and an Shao, following orders, returned to the deck, alert and watchful. Subsequently, Wang Yu and Little Li descended into the ship. Navigating the narrow and tumultuous ventilation shaft proved arduous, with condensation dripping from the walls, soaking their clothing and chilling them to the bone. Little Li shivered, gasping for breath, as the flashlight flickered in the darkness, striving to illuminate their path. Wang Yu, however, maintained his composure, strolling leisurely through the confined space. Young Master, just around the next bend lies the floodgate control area, Little Li informed. The floodgate was hydraulically operated, not overly complicated to manage, yet it required prompt action, as time passed and water pressure increased. Sealing it would become increasingly difficult. Finally, after a grueling 10 minutes, they reached the control zone. Most overhead lights were shattered, leaving only a few flickering bulbs to illuminate the control panel, which was cluttered with buttons and gauges. "Oh no," Little Lee exclaimed, adeptly pressing several switches to assess the parameters. His brow furrowed as he noted, "The water pressure is nearing the safety threshold. We must close the floodgates immediately." "How do we proceed?" Little Lee pointed to a large red button, shouting to Wang Yu, "Young master, this is the emergency shut-off button. I will first activate the auxiliary braking system to lessen the water pressure. Watch for my signal. When I tell you to press it, apply force to that button. Do you understand?" Wang Yu nodded solemnly, gripping the edges of the button, his palms slick with perspiration. Anxiety coursed through him. While he was not overly concerned about the yacht sinking into the depths of the Pacific, his beloved He Chaolian was aboard, along with He Yujun, Shi Mingyao, He Chaoxin, and over 100 staff and bodyguards. Should the yacht truly submerge, survival under such conditions was exceedingly unlikely. Though An Ing and An Shao could potentially rescue He Chaolian and the others, the fate of so many would be left to chance, a scenario he could not bear to witness. Little Lee swiftly manipulated the adjacent valves. With a mechanical hum, the auxiliary braking system engaged, emitting a sharp grinding sound. "Press it," Little Lee shouted. Wang Yu exerted all his strength and abruptly pressed the button. In that instant, the entire control area trembled violently. The mechanical gears began to rotate slowly, propelling the heavy gate to move gradually. The pressure of the ocean surged against the gate, producing a deafening roar as if it threatened to tear everything apart. Wang Yu and Li Heng fixed their gaze on the operation screen, watching the gate close with agonizing slowness, their hearts racing in their throats. Each second felt like a century. Finally, with a resounding crash, the gate sealed completely, keeping the tumultuous sea at bay. Little Lee collapsed onto the ground, gasping for breath, overwhelmed by the exhilaration of surviving a harrowing ordeal. The yacht was no longer taking on water. They simply needed to await the arrival of the rescue vessel to return home. The mere thought of the recent events sent chills down Little Lee's spine. After graduating from university, he had joined He Yojuan's yacht, working for the He family. While learning from the old captain, he had often expressed curiosity about the enigmatic mysteries of the sea, particularly the legendary sea monsters often depicted in films. However, the captain merely dismissed him, suggesting he had watched too many movies. In his youth, the old captain had served in the Navy, undertaking covert missions at sea. Yet, he had never encountered a sea monster, not even a shadow of one. Mocked for his curiosity, Little Lee had eventually relinquished his fascination. And after several years of maritime adventures, he had evolved into a staunch materialist, convinced that tales of ghosts and monsters were mere fabrications to frighten children. Yet, after witnessing the terrifyingly enormous octopus, he was now truly frightened, his legs trembling uncontrollably. There indeed existed sea monsters. His previous lack of encounters had merely been a stroke of luck. The two returned to the deck, and the clock had struck 6:30 in the morning. The bright moon hung high in the sky, but was obscured entirely by thick clouds, revealing not a trace of light. It felt as though the apocalypse was imminent. The fierce wind howled like a mad beast, mercilessly tearing at everything around them. The yacht, once relatively stable, now tilted 30 degrees towards the stern. With the anchor no longer securing it, the vessel bobbed violently on the turbulent sea, akin to a fallen leaf tossed about in the storm, unsure of its direction. The torrential rain, like large beads, was hurled by the ferocious wind, striking their faces painfully, while visibility was reduced to a blinding whiteness. In the distance, waves surged like towering mountains, crashing down with the force of an avalanche, pounding against the hull of the yacht with a deafening roar. Each impact felt as though it could shatter the vessel into pieces. "What has caused this dreadful weather to change so abruptly?" Little Lee shouted, but his voice was instantly swallowed by the howling wind. Gripping the railing tightly, he felt his legs tremble slightly from the fear instilled by the earlier encounter with the sea monster, and now, besieged by the tempest, he found it increasingly difficult to maintain his footing. Wang Yu stood firmly on the deck, his legs seemingly rooted to the vessel, squinting into the distance, attempting to discern a glimmer of hope amidst the chaos of the tempestuous world. Lightning slashed through the darkness like a blade, momentarily illuminating the surface of the sea. In quick succession, a deep rumbling thunder rolled in, as if the very heavens were trembling in response to the cacophony. The old captain, supported by his bodyguard, made his way onto the deck, his weathered face betraying the seriousness of the dire situation, despite his vast experience with storms. Quickly back into the cabin, he bellowed, urgency lacing his voice. This storm will not abate anytime soon. We must seek refuge until the winds subside. He gestured for Wang Yu and Xiao Li to move towards the ship's interior. You two go ahead. Young Master Wang, please be cautious. After a few words of advice, the captain, realizing Wang Yu remained unmoved, reluctantly followed Xiao Li into the safety of the cabin. Once inside, Wang Yu spotted Shadow and Dark Owl standing like statues against the rain-soaked deck. The torrential downpour battered them, water cascading down their taut faces. Yet they remained oblivious to their surroundings. As lightning once again tore through the sky, illuminating their drenched dark uniforms, the glint of their military daggers reflected a chilling light. Stop gazing. That octopus is unlikely to return, Wang Yu remarked, his voice fragmented by the howling wind. The rain is too fierce. Visibility is less than 5 meters. Even if the sea monster were to come, we wouldn't see it. No sooner had he spoken than a colossal wave crashed against the hull, dousing them in a deluge of salty seawater. Dark Owl wiped the rain from his face and turned to Shadow. Young Master Wang makes a valid point. With waves this size, even if a sea beast reappears, we would remain unaware. Shadow glanced at Dark Owl's face, now pale from the soaking, and sheathed his dagger. Let us go, he said, leading the way, his arm outstretched to shield Wang Yu from the oncoming torrent. Soon, the trio returned to the sanctuary of the cabin. Inside, the walls were lined with superior soundproofing materials, effectively muffling the sounds of thunder and crashing waves from the outside world. Upon entering the main hall, Wang Yu observed that apart from He Yu Jun and a handful of bodyguards, most others had vanished. Shaking droplets of water from his hair, he was greeted by He Yu Jun, who approached with a steaming cup of coffee. You finally returned. Had you delayed any longer, I would have resorted to shouting through a megaphone, he suggested. Xiao Li mentioned that after the gate closed, the water pressure stabilized. I've had the kitchen prepare ginger soup. Drink some to warm yourself. He handed the coffee to Wang Yu, who accepted it and took a sip before inquiring, where are the others? I saw that things had calmed down, so I sent them back to their rooms to rest. After all, they have endured quite a night, and many of the girls are too frightened to cope. Wang Yu nodded in understanding, aware that most of the ship's staff were fresh graduates, still naive and inexperienced. It is entirely reasonable to be reduced to tears by the sight of that colossal octopus. Even a bodyguard nearby seems to be lingering in fear. What more can be said for them? He Chao Lian approached with a towel in hand, hurrying over. Look at you completely soaked. Let me dry you off so you don't catch a cold. With the warmth of the towel at her fingertips, she delicately wiped the damp strands of Wang Yu's hair, her gentle movements revealing a hint of trepidation in her eyes. Ever since Wang Yu ventured out, she had been engulfed in worry about his safety, for he had faced a creature as terrifying as Cthulhu. Yet he had ventured forth unscathed, and now she could finally breathe easy. Wang Yu's bravery was remarkable. In a moment of peril, he had chosen to confront fear head-on, a fact that was almost beyond belief. He Chaoyan found her affection for Wang Yu intensifying. As he slightly bowed his head in compliance, her gaze caught sight of his lips, pressed together in concentration, causing her inner tension to ease ever so slightly. Your hair is far too long. It's high time for a trim, she murmured softly. Wang Yu, hearing her, quickly replied, it's just growing out, and it's just right now. Oh, how attentive you are. He Yu Jun commented with an exaggerated tone, gazing enviously at them. Shi Meng Yao, reaching for his waist, executed a swift 360-degree spin. Ouch. He Yu Jun winced in pain, clutching his side and refraining from further commentary. He Chao Yin felt her cheeks flush at the remark. Yet her hands continued their gentle ministrations until the water ceased dripping from Wang Yu's forehead, at which point she stepped back. Wang Yu finished his coffee, warmth spreading down his throat, dispelling much of the lingering chill. He handed the empty cup to He Yu Jun, his tone casual. Please get me another cup. With extra milk. Do you think this is a CAF? He Yu Jun rolled his eyes in exasperation, reaching for the cup. Can't you use your own hands? Why are you being so harsh, brother? He Chao Xan, having approached from the staircase, cheerfully intercepted the cup Wang Yu had offered. I'll fetch another for Wang Yu. And see if the ginger soup is ready. She winked at him and, holding the cup, skipped towards the bar, her ponytail swinging energetically behind her. Wang Yu watched her retreating figure, momentarily lost in thought. He Chao Xian had just endured a bizarre and surreal experience. Any normal girl would surely be terrified. Yet before him, she radiated youth and vitality. Had she managed to suppress her fears in his presence, or was she inherently carefree? Shaking his head, Wang Yu turned to the shadows, Dark Shadow and Dark Owl, who had remained at the door without entering, and said, You two should go wash up and change into fresh clothes. Come to my room shortly. I have a few questions to ask. Understood, Wang Xiao. We'll head down now. They quickly bowed in acknowledgement and exited. The situation had improved, the crisis averted, though it appeared they might need to drift at sea for some time. Wang Yu spread his hands, delivering this somewhat disheartening news to He Yu-jun and the others. He Yu-jun muttered under his breath, glanced at his phone, and remarked, I previously requested a few boats from home to search for us. With such fierce winds and torrential rain, I wonder if they'll be able to find us. Who cares? It will be fine once the rain stops after dawn, Shi Mengyao replied nonchalantly. In her view, as long as there was no external danger, it mattered little if they momentarily lost their way, drifting into the unknown. After all, they could return home once daylight broke. Wang Yu and the others were equally unconcerned about whether the yacht would sink. What was there to worry about? In this age of modern technology, as long as they remained on the sea, they could always find their way back home. He Chaoxin entered the room carrying a tray with 2 steaming cups of coffee and ginger soup. A slice of lemon was perched atop the bowl of ginger soup. Freshly brewed, the ginger soup was just what Wang Yu needed after being drenched. She quickly drank it down and changed into dry clothes to avoid catching a cold. She set the tray on the coffee table, her ponytail brushing against Wang Yu's knee. Brother Wang, you should drink the ginger soup to ward off the chill. And then, before she could finish her sentence, the yacht suddenly pitched violently. As she reached out to steady the tray, a few drops of ginger soup splashed onto Wang Yu's arm. Is it hot? It's all my fault for being careless. He Chaoxin's eyes instantly glistened with unshed tears as she hurriedly pulled out a tissue from her pocket, carefully wiping the ginger soup from Wang Yu's arm. I'm so sorry. I'm tough as nails. It's nothing to worry about. Why are you being so hard on yourself? Wang Yu chuckled helplessly and pinched her cheek to comfort her. He Chaoxin's tears transformed into laughter as she responded. As long as you don't blame me for being clumsy, that's good enough. Her endearing demeanor drew hearty laughter from He Yu-jun, Shi Mengyao, and He Chaoyan, causing He Chaoxin's already flushed cheeks to redden even more. Chapter 365. Unaware of the world beyond, the tempest raged on its sea, with thunder crashing and lightning flashing. The colossal waves, imbued with tremendous force, relentlessly battered the yacht, which was adrift without an anchor, tossed toward unknown horizons by the surging tides. One by one, they retreated to their rooms to rest, anticipating the calm that dawn would bring. Fortunately, the yacht's power supply had not been completely compromised, allowing Wang Yu and He Chaoyan to enjoy a comforting bath together. During this time, Wang Yu's playful antics elicited countless eye rolls from He Chaoyan, who, irritated, firmly halted his advances. Good grief. This man is an insatiable machine. Doesn't he ever tire? After a long, tumultuous first half of the night, she couldn't fathom why he was insistent once more. He Chaoyan shot Wang Yu a reproachful glance, her eyes reflecting her fatigue. Aware that he had overstepped, Wang Yu rubbed his nose sheepishly, recognizing the need to relent, especially since Shadow and Dark Hawk were due to arrive shortly. I truly appreciate your kindness, He Chaoyan pouted, looking up at him with feigned sorrow. Thank you for sparing my life, allowing me to continue serving you. Truly, I must have owed you in my past life. Since you claim to owe me from a previous life, you must repay me well in this lifetime and with interest. Furthermore, I not only demand your devotion in this life, but in the next and the one after that, you shall be my woman for eternity. Do not even think of escaping my grasp. Wang Yu leaned closer to He Chaoyan's ear, his voice rich with magnetism. Who would dare to escape? He Chaoyan blushed at his words, her heart brimming with sweetness. How would you like me to repay you? I am entirely yours. Do as you wish. You are my boyfriend, and I cannot truly refuse you. What a rogue. He Chaoyan felt a surge of sweetness within. This scoundrel had not only secured her in this life, but had also arranged for her future lives. How domineering. What if she no longer fancied him in the future? She might very well flee in this life, and the thought of the next seemed so naive. Nevertheless, He Chaoyan evidently relished Wang Yu's words, casting him a playful glance before lowering her head willingly. Wang Yu inhaled sharply, his hands gripping the edge of the bathtub as he closed his eyes. Replaying the events of the night, he regretted not teaming up with Shadow and Dark Hawk, which might have prevented their escape and the subsequent damage to the engine. Now, the yacht's fate was uncertain, a source of frustration. He Chaoyan's understanding demeanor pleased Wang Yu immensely. As a wealthy young lady, she did not exhibit the faults often associated with girls from affluent families, though she usually displayed an air of confidence. She always seemed tender and dependent in Wang Yu's presence. Suddenly, a jolt of surprise coursed through Wang Yu, interrupting his reverie. Where are we? He wondered, astonished by her boldness. He glanced at Yichao and then back at the ceiling, contemplating the notion that ordinary women are easier to manage, more likely to understand their roles. Wealthy individuals often prefer to marry women they can control, favoring those of a similar social standing over those from affluent backgrounds. Yet, the reality is that the wealthy do not necessarily gravitate towards ordinary girls. Rather, they seek to marry the daughters of other affluent families. The rhetoric promoting social equality is merely a figment of the lower class's imagination. Girls from wealthy families are accustomed to the finest things, sophisticated social gatherings, and an elevated intellectual discourse. They exist on a different wavelength than the average person, understanding their place and the propriety of their actions. In contrast, women from ordinary backgrounds, upon marrying well, may lose sight of their position, attempting to control finances, businesses, and their husband's social engagements, despite lacking the requisite knowledge or experience. True aristocratic marriages are never mere fairy tales of love. Their lives perfectly aligned in terms of business, wealth, and private existence. To these affluent individuals, an ordinary girl may possess little value beyond her physical beauty. Apart from that, she is of no consequence. Wang Yu felt intermittent waves of pleasure while contemplating the several women in his life. For a moment, he was almost lost in reverie. One could only say that having such girlfriends was indeed a privilege for him. Outside the room, the shadow knocked on the door once more, then lowered his hand in resignation. He shrugged helplessly and suggested, "Perhaps we should come back later. Wang Xiao might not be in a position to receive us." The shadow, puzzled, inquired, "Didn't T. Wang Xiao say we could come to his room? Why is there no response to our knocking? Could something have happened?" At this thought, the shadow was suddenly alarmed and attempted to force the door open, declaring something must have gone awry. Otherwise, he wouldn't still be inside after all this time. The other shadow swiftly covered her face and pulled her back, exclaiming, "Have you truly lost your senses? How naive can one be? It's obvious what a young master like Wang Xiao would be doing in a room with his girlfriend. Our task now is to wait and not disturb his enjoyment." Uncertain how much time had passed, the sound of Wang Yu inviting them inside finally resonated from within the room. The door swung open, and they stepped in. The shadow looked up to see Wang Yu lounging on the sofa in a bathrobe, with the elegantly dressed Yichao behind him, massaging his shoulders and alleviating his fatigue. Her eyes brimming with affection. As the shadows approached, they clasped their fists respectfully and inquired, "Wang Xiao, we are at your service. Is there something you wish to discuss? Were you two sent by my grandfather?" Wang Yu did not immediately broach the previous topic, but rather spoke with an implied meaning. "Indeed," the shadow replied thoughtfully. "Both Dark Shadow and I are frequently tasked with the close protection of our superior and have earned his trust. Our current standing is solely due to the superior's nurturing. It is an honor to protect you and serve your interests." Being astute individuals, Wang Yu's words were instantly comprehended by the shadow. This declaration of loyalty was intended to convey to Wang Yu that he and Dark Shadow could be entirely trusted. They were allies. Hearing this, Wang Yu finally felt reassured. Since Dark Shadow and Dark Shadow were dispatched from the military, he couldn't help but wonder if they were indeed his true allies. The disparity in this context was significant. They could simply be there to fulfill a mission, indifferent to who Wang Yu was. However, this moment unequivocally demonstrated their allegiance. Chapter 366. The dispersal of turbid chi. Wang Yu gradually straightened his posture and spoke. "The reason I summoned you here is not for any trivial matter. Previously, you mentioned the 5 turbid realms and the concept of turbid chi. What do they signify? Furthermore, what are the 5 types of turbid chi? Calamity turbid, perception turbid, vexation turbid, sentient being turbid, and life turbid. I hope you can enlighten me. There is nothing to conceal in this regard. Prominent families generally possess such knowledge." Wang Yu sought clarification, and the shadow's gaze shifted thoughtfully. The purpose behind Wang Yu's invitation for them to gather here was unsurprising. However, his gaze deliberately drifted towards Yichao, hesitating momentarily. "Brother Wang Yu, since you were engaged in discussions, I shall return to my room," Yichao remarked, preparing to turn away, not wishing to interrupt their conversation. Yet, Wang Yu reached out and gently grasped her delicate hand, encouraging her to remain by his side. He turned to Yining and Xiao, smiling as he said, "Chaoyan is my girlfriend, and thus one of us. Feel free to speak without reservation." Yichao wished to voice her thoughts, but was met with a reassuring pat on her shoulder from Wang Yu. Touched, she nestled against his arm, obediently seated beside him. "Please, take a seat as well," Wang Yu invited. "Yes, young Master Wang." Yining and Xiao settled onto the sofa opposite him. After a brief pause, Yining began, his tone gravely serious. Young Master Wang, allow me to enlighten you on the origins of the five turbidities and the turbid qi. His voice shifted to a somber timbre, eyes filled with regret as he continued. The five turbidities represent a state of cosmic disorder, a time when spiritual energy wanes, plunging the world into its most corrupt and violent form. The world is transformed. All beings suffer, and nature withers. Only the turbid qi endures. This turbid qi is categorized into five types: calamity turbidity, perceptual turbidity, affliction turbidity, sentient turbidity, and life turbidity. Typically invisible, these forms of turbid qi proliferate in areas densely populated by people. Yining paused, his expression growing increasingly grave. Each of these five turbidities possesses its own significance. Life turbidity pertains to the condition of life itself. When plagued by illness, aging, or youthful vitality, it generates life turbidity from the soul, most commonly found in hospitals. Sentient turbidity is unique. It does not manifest when beings are virtuous and compassionate, yet when society becomes selfish, greedy, and chaotic, it becomes evident. Affliction turbidity arises when individuals are consumed by desires, anger, ignorance, arrogance, and doubt. Perceptual turbidity emerges when erroneous thoughts and beliefs dominate, leading people to forsake the concepts of cause and effect and moral retribution. Lastly, calamity turbidity does not exist independently. Rather, it forms when the other four types, perceptual, affliction, sentient, and life turbidity, interact simultaneously. These forms of turbid qi linger in the world, perceptible only to those with the right connections. Upon successfully absorbing turbid qi, one's body, nourished and eroded by it, grows increasingly resilient. Each absorption exponentially amplifies one's strength. Hearing Yining's words, He Chaolian's mouth gradually fell agape, her disbelief evident as she gazed at him. She questioned whether she had merely imagined the esoteric concepts being discussed. Would Wang Yu truly believe such enigmatic notions? Turning to him, she noticed Wang Yu listening intently, his expression animated and exhilarated. The gray energy you utilize, is it derived from the absorption of these five forms of turbid qi? Wang Yu inquired with curiosity. The Dark Hawk interjected, nodding, indeed. Young Master Wang, the reason Shadow and I were able to drive away that sea beast is that we are both ancient martial artists who have absorbed the essence of life as impurities. If merely absorbing the essence of life as impurities is so formidable, one can only imagine the power that would ensue from absorbing the remaining four types of impurities. Wang Yu's eyes sparkled with insight. Shadow and Dark Hawk exchanged glances. The notion of absorbing all four types was indeed fanciful. For them, merely advancing further and merging the impurities of all beings would suffice. Young Master Wang is truly uninformed on this matter. Absorbing impurities is not a straightforward endeavor, Shadow remarked, shaking his head. If one could merge the five types of impurities, I believe they would attain a godlike status. Have you ever encountered such a being? Wang Yu inquired. Both Shadow and Dark Hawk shook their heads in unison. Wang Yu pressed on, then what must one do to absorb these impurities? Are there specific techniques involved? No. Generally, after reaching the zenith of ancient martial arts, one may, under specific fortuitous circumstances, perceive the impurities. Such opportunities may arise from practicing ancient scriptures or from a moment of life and death. Of course, some individuals can perceive them while walking, eating, or sleeping. There is no discernible pattern. Shadow sighed. I perceive the essence of life as impurities during a life and death moment while on a mission, which I then absorb into my dantian, thus attaining the first stage of the impurity realm, the life impurity phase. And Dark Hawk, what fortuitous event led to your advancement in the life impurity realm? Wang Yu queried. I was originally a disciple of the Amaze sect, Dark Hawk replied, somewhat bashfully brushing his hair aside. After my master commanded me to descend the mountain, I was overwhelmed with excitement, and before I knew it, I had sensed it. That was many years ago, yet I have not encountered a second type of impurity since. Wang Yu smiled wryly. The process of absorbing impurities seemed entirely reliant on luck and chance, a notion he struggled to comprehend. Suddenly, he recalled something and asked, You mentioned spiritual energy earlier? What is that? Spiritual energy is akin to what you might envision, but it gradually vanished hundreds of years ago. There is likely none left in the world today, Shadow explained, fully aware of Wang Yu's curiosity. Originally, the world was imbued with spiritual energy. Ancient martial artists, upon reaching the limits of human potential, would sense a trace of innate spiritual energy, absorbing it and becoming innate realm warriors. These warriors could live for 300 years, harnessing the power of heaven and earth with every movement. However, with the disappearance of spiritual energy, the remaining innate realm warriors have slowly perished, prompting subsequent ancient martial artists to seek substitutes for spiritual energy, impurities. Over time, it became evident that the impurities, for reasons unknown, had been increasing. Some powerful beings attempted to absorb them. However, the fundamental difference between absorbing impurities and spiritual energy lies in the fact that one's lifespan does not extend. Moreover, the erosion from impurities could lead to a shortened lifespan. Many malevolent entities, eager for rapid strength, have absorbed excessive impurities and found themselves unable to recover. The harm inflicted upon the body is indeed considerable, accompanied by instances of mental disarray. Ultimately, one may not even survive past the age of 50. Furthermore, warriors in the realm of turbid energy lose their dominion over the forces of nature, relying solely on their own strength. Yet, there exists a silver lining. Chapter 367. The innate divine power warriors endowed with remarkable talent may, upon ascending to the turbid energy realm, comprehend their innate divine power. Such warriors, having grasped this divine ability, can rival those in the innate realm who command the forces of nature. Exceptional prodigies are capable of realizing a divine power with each absorption of turbid energy, while others of lesser intellect may glean nothing at all. Aside from enhancing their physical fortitude, they squander this golden opportunity. The techniques of Dragon Collapse and Shadow Strike, witnessed by young Master Wang, are indeed the divine powers we have comprehended, and they are innate powers that grow stronger with the enhancement of one's own abilities. Shadow extended a hand to receive the teacup, expressing gratitude to He Chaolian, who merely smiled faintly. Her gaze shifted to Wang Yu, her expression somewhat grave. She remarked that she was gradually beginning to believe their assertions. It was hard for her to fathom that Shadow, Dark Falcon, and Wang Yu would concoct such tales to deceive her. Countless doubts swirled in her mind, but for now, she could only suppress them. How intriguing, Wang Yu mused, stroking his chin thoughtfully. This world has indeed grown fascinating. Not only are there warriors in the turbid energy realm who surpass the limits of the human body, but there are also divine powers arising from the perception of turbid energy. He then inquired, since it all hinges on opportunity, might I also comprehend turbid energy? I truly do not know, came the reply. Generally, after reaching the pinnacle of traditional martial arts, one may experience enlightenment in an instant, or, conversely, never perceive it throughout their lifetime. The comprehension of divine powers relies solely on one's innate talent, while the perception of turbid energy follows no discernible pattern. No one can assist you in this matter. Shadow chuckled wryly and continued, for instance, after comprehending the command of turbid energy, I am utterly at a loss regarding the next. Dark Falcon furrowed his brow and remarked, young Master Wang, I believe there is no need for you to aspire to become a warrior in the turbid energy realm. Your noble status means many serve you loyally. Why burden yourself with the absorption of turbid energy? We now inhabit an era of technology, aircraft, artillery, missiles, nuclear weapons. These forces far surpass those of turbid energy warriors. Moreover, absorbing turbid energy will inevitably affect one's lifespan. After a moment's hesitation, Dark Falcon turned to Wang Yu and added, perhaps this is why the chief did not share this information with you. He does not wish for you to tread this path. Shadow, sensing an opportunity to further dissuade Wang Yu, spoke again. I've heard that when one absorbs the fifth strand of turbid energy for the final transformation, they must endure a thunder tribulation. The heavens seek to eliminate you, a perilous endeavor. Upon hearing the accounts from Shadow and Dark Falcon, Wang Yu slowly nodded in understanding. He realized he had underestimated the dangers associated with absorbing turbid energy. It is one thing to reduce one's lifespan, but to be struck by lightning as well. No wonder he had never heard Wang Jiangwo mention such occurrences. It is indeed perilous and devoid of any benefits. For families of their stature, the Wang family holds the pinnacle position in Huagua, with countless individuals willing to serve them. Why bother absorbing such chaotic energies? The world is so splendid, and Wang Yu has yet to fully savor its offerings. He has only returned to life for less than half a year. A grand future still awaits him. Moreover, he is not limited to merely absorbing turbid energy. Once the system upgrade is complete, he can continue to extract attributes to enhance his strength. For him, this represents a broad and promising path. With this thought, Wang Yu felt a heightened anticipation for the functionalities that would emerge from the system upgrade. Hoping for a more formidable outcome, he completely dismissed the notion of becoming a turbid energy martial artist, Such a fragmented cultivation system is unworthy of pursuit. He raised his gaze towards the shadow and remarked, "What a futile expectation. Such after effects are simply unsuitable for me." The expressions of the shadow and Dark Hawk relaxed, and they breathed a sigh of relief. As long as Wang Yu did not seek to absorb turbid energy, becoming a turbid energy martial artist was acceptable. Otherwise, they would truly be at a loss when facing their superior. By the way, why do you refer to that octopus as a sea beast? Is there a story behind it? The shadow nodded and explained, "In the world, there exist certain extraordinary creatures that, by chance, awaken the bloodlines passed down in their bodies, becoming beings of remarkable power. Those in the sea are generally called sea beasts, while those on land are referred to as demon beasts or spirit beasts. Spirit beasts are typically friendly towards humans and are regarded as auspicious. However, with the disappearance of spiritual energy and the encroachment of turbid energy, most demon beasts have become quite savage, and spirit beasts have not been seen for many years. So that is the case. No wonder that octopus is so ferocious. How is the strength of these demon beasts classified?" Wang Yu inquired with curiosity. Generally, the larger the size, the stronger the power, but it is not absolute. Many demon beasts possess unique bloodlines that grant them terrifying strength. Wang Yu stroked his chin, deep in thought. It seems finding a spirit beast to rear would be far more interesting than keeping common pets like cats or dogs. Surely, even the most affluent families would struggle to possess a spirit beast as a guardian. Yet, as the shadow mentioned, spirit beasts are exceedingly rare. Whether Wang Yu can fulfill this desire is left to fortune. Why has spiritual energy vanished? Do you know the reason? Wang Yu suddenly pondered this question. The turbid energy realm truly seems inadequate, with far too many drawbacks. This made Wang Yu yearn for the innate realm, where one can command the powers of heaven and earth. The shadow shrugged and replied succinctly, "I do not know. There have been powerful predecessors who investigated the mystery of the disappearance of spiritual energy, yet they found no answers." Well, Wang Yu sighed in disappointment. The shadow and Dark Hawk, having discussed enough, stood to take their leave. Wang Yu raised his gaze and smiled, saying, "From now on, you need not remain in the shadows. It is more convenient for you to stay by my side." Cold Peak had sustained injuries while in Hong Kong and was recuperating. It was essential for him to have someone nearby. Although Shadow and Dark Hawk had been ensuring his safety from the shadows, it was ultimately inconvenient. With such skilled martial artists as bodyguards, one could only imagine the astonishment of those with ill intentions when Shadow swiftly eliminated them. "Thank you, young Master Wang," Shadow and Dark Hawk replied, then slowly exited the room, closing the door behind them. Once they were gone, He Chaolian huffed and immediately perched herself on Wang Yu's lap. Grasping his face with both hands, her expression earnest. "Brother Wang Yu, you must not practice such harmful techniques. Do you understand? And what if I wish to try?" Wang Yu raised an eyebrow, smiling. "You are incorrigible," He Chaolian exclaimed, biting Wang Yu's shoulder in frustration, burying her head in his embrace as she murmured, "If you truly want to try, I shall never speak to you again." Confused and distressed, she feared that such practices could shorten his life and, if taken too far, might even attract lightning. Just the thought of Wang Yu enduring such torment filled her with dread. "Rest assured, I would be foolish to pursue such incomplete cultivation methods," Wang Yu assured, holding her hand. I believe you." At that moment, it was already 8 in the morning. The sun gently peeked over the distant horizon, and the storm outside began to abate. The sunlight streamed through the broken window, illuminating the familiar room. There was no choice in the matter. After the furious destruction caused by the prehistoric giant octopus last night, finding an intact room was impossible. After enjoying the seafood noodles brought by the waiter, Wang Yu cradled He Chaolian and returned to bed. Despite feeling energized after a night of turmoil, He Chaolian was somewhat fatigued. With nothing pressing to attend to, she decided to sleep a little longer, hoping that by the time she awoke, the rescue ship would have arrived. A few hours later, He Chaolian stirred awake from her slumber. Her eyelashes fluttered, and her fingertips brushed against the other side of the bed, where the sheets felt slightly sticky. As she propped herself up, she noticed Wang Yu leaning by the window, gazing outside. The sunlight cast a soft, golden halo around his silhouette, enhancing his remarkable presence. On the dressing table lay a neatly folded light blue dress, newly delivered by the waiter, still carrying a hint of the ocean's scent. Why not sleep a bit longer? Wang Yu observed her movements and smiled. He Chaolian got up and approached him, wrapping her arms around his neck with a lazy smile. "I won't sleep anymore. I just had the most delightful nap." "Very well. Since you feel refreshed, let us venture outside and see what the situation is." After He Chaolian washed up and dressed, the two of them stepped out of the room. As soon as they emerged, The dark owl inexplicably followed from an unknown location, arriving on the deck. The briny sea breeze wrapped in sunlight rushed toward him. The sun hung high in the sky, and the atmosphere was clear and bright. At this moment, the sky was as blue as a sapphire, radiating an enchanting luster. Apart from a few bodyguards and crew members, there was no one else around. Clearly, He Jun and the others were still sleeping after the excitement of the previous night. He Chaolian grasped the tilted railing, suddenly realizing that the entire yacht had tilted over 15 degrees to starboard. The deck was strewn with broken ropes, seaweed, and fish. The attendants were meticulously clearing the debris from the boat, while the crew was repairing the damaged hull. Dozens of seagulls skimmed across the water surface, their wings brushing against the reflected hues of the sunset, startling ripples that suddenly revealed glittering flying fish gracefully arcing through the air. Gazing at the shimmering sea, He Chaolian felt her spirits lift, a charming smile gracing her face, leaving Wang Yu dumbfounded. Suddenly, she spotted a small black dot on the horizon, her gaze irresistibly drawn to it. What is that? He Chaolian rubbed her eyes, stood on tiptoe, and cupped her hands to form a makeshift telescope. Wang Yu, is that a small island? Her voice trembled with barely contained excitement as she bounced by the railing. Wang Yu turned to look, his heart leaping with joy. Indeed, it was a small island. Upon closer inspection, a smile finally graced his lips. It was a small island, lush with vegetation and adorned with expansive white sands. The crew members on the deck, hearing her exclamation, paused their repairs, wrenches clattering onto the metal deck with a crisp sound, all crowding to the side of the yacht to peer over. Wang Yu, let us find a way to go to the island. Since the yacht is damaged anyway, we can enjoy ourselves there while waiting for rescue from home. He Chaolian's eyes sparkled with delight. After the previous night's thrill, she was particularly eager to return to solid ground, feeling unsafe out at sea. That sounds reasonable, Wang Yu replied, his heart stirred. Adrift at sea was hardly a viable option. Visiting the island would be akin to a vacation. He then instructed someone to summon He Jun and notify the captain. Before long, Xiao Li arrived on the deck, approaching Wang Yu with respect. Young Master Wang, what can I do for you? There's a small island over there. I plan to check it out, and if it suits us, we can wait for rescue there. Wang Yu indicated the island with a gesture. Xiao Li squinted. Observing the direction, Wang Yu pointed for a moment before glancing up at the drifting clouds. Just then, He Jun, Shi Mengyao, and He Chaoxin approached. Having washed up and changed into fresh attire, the three no longer bore the previous disheveled appearance, regaining their former aristocratic demeanor, though Shi Mengyao's complexion appeared somewhat pale. He Chaolian hurriedly trotted to Wang Yu, her eyes gleaming with joy resembling crescent moons. Brother Wang Yu, where is the small island? Let me see it. Wang Yu gestured towards the distance, where what was once a mere black that had grown slightly larger. Even an ordinary person could discern the lush greenery atop it, accompanied by coconut trees lining the beach. Yet, she couldn't shake the feeling that a vessel was anchored nearby. However, Wang Yu dismissed the thought. Having company was certainly preferable to being stranded on an uninhabited isle. Wonderful. At last, we won't have to endure this wretched yacht any longer, He Chaolian exclaimed, following her gaze with excitement. She turned to Shi Mengyao and encouraged, Sister Mengyao, hang in there, we will reach the small island shortly. Concerned by her pale complexion, He Chaolian asked, what is wrong with Mengyao? Just as Shi Mengyao opened her mouth to respond, a wave of nausea surged through her, nearly causing her to retch. Hold on, darling, we'll be there soon, she murmured softly. He Jun gently patted her back, explaining, the yacht has been tilting a bit. Mengyao's seasickness had almost subsided, but after a nap, it seems to have worsened. Thankfully, we've spotted this small island. Once we disembark, she should feel better. Can Xiao Li manage to get us there? He Jun inquired, turning his gaze towards Xiao Li, who stood nearby. Xiao Li nodded and replied, there's spare canvas on the boat, and the wind direction is favorable. After calculations, it should pose no issue. Then go and notify everyone immediately. We shall head to this small island. He Jun smiled. Xiao Li hesitated for a moment, then said, but what? He Jun interjected, thinking it was something of great concern. As long as we ensure a safe landing, it's fine if the yacht is damaged. You needn't worry about that. Understood. Xiao Li nodded and turned to leave. With He Jun's reassurance, he no longer needed to fret about the yacht's potential grounding or the resulting losses. Chapter 369. Not foolish, yet never hungry. The afternoon of the previous day, sunlight bathed the dock, casting a warm glow. The azure sky uplifted the spirits of the gathered stars. A cruise ship was already docked at the pier. It was the vessel rented by the Extreme Challenge program from a local cruise company, which had booked the entire ship. Although the cruise ship lacked opulent DCOR in appearance, it was relatively new, having been acquired not long ago. The program team were indeed the first guests, and they had booked the entire venue, much to the delight of the company manager, who couldn't hide his smile. Director Shi Yining was engaged in conversation with a mayor from Papua New Guinea and embassy staff from Huagua, his laughter echoing even from a distance. Mayor Shihada was amiable and approachable, displaying none of the airs typically associated with his office as he conversed warmly with Shi Yining. Appearing to be in his 40s, he bore a dark complexion typical of Melanesians, who represent one of Papua New Guinea's predominant ethnic groups. After more than 2 decades of reform and opening up, the economy of Huagua has flourished remarkably in the eyes of many small nations. The people of Huagua have become synonymous with wealth, and Zahid is no exception. This filming opportunity for the director's team presents a splendid chance to promote the country. By showcasing the local scenery in the program, it is certain to attract affluent Huagua citizens to visit, thus generating considerable wealth. Ordinarily, such minor matters could be left to the Tourism Bureau. However, Papua New Guinea is exceedingly impoverished. Poverty compels change, and it is this very hardship that necessitated Zahid to personally host the director's team, ensuring that everything proceeds smoothly. Rest assured, Mayor Zahid, I will do my utmost to promote your city during the program, Shi Yining confidently proclaimed in fluent English. You cannot fathom how immensely popular our Extreme Challenge show is in Huagua. Once it airs, tourists will flock in droves. Shi Yining patted his chest, fervently assuring the mayor of the show's success. With such assurances, Mayor Zahid's smile radiated even brighter, filled with warmth, though internally he harbored doubts. Had it not been for the investigation into the program's popularity in Huagua, he would not have placed such importance on this endeavor. Nearby, a 23-year-old embassy staff member, a recent university graduate, brimmed with youthful exuberance. Yiling calmly remarked, Director Shi, to accommodate your filming requirements, Mayor Zahid has specially arranged for you to access an uninhabited island. This island is remote, having been untouched for over a decade, ensuring its pristine state. It boasts lush vegetation, abundant wild fruits, and small animals, with rich fishing resources nearby. One would not go hungry here. Furthermore, Mayor Zahid has assured that no one will disturb your work during your stay. Thank you, Mr. Yi, for your efforts, Shi Yining responded, instantly straightening his posture, his face adorned with a perfectly timed smile. We are incredibly grateful. This truly alleviates our urgent needs. With this untouched island, our program is bound to achieve great success upon airing. He then turned to Mayor Zahid, his tone growing more earnest. We also extend our gratitude to you, Mayor Zahid, for your support of our program. This not only signifies trust in our production team, but also establishes a bridge of cultural exchange between Huagua and your esteemed nation. When the program airs, audiences worldwide will be able to appreciate your country's unique natural beauty and cultural charm. May your filming proceed smoothly. Mayor Zahid extended his hand for a handshake, smiling warmly. Subsequently, he welcomed the accompanying stars with handshakes, expressing hope that they would enjoy their time here after filming. The visibly astonished crew members stepped forward to shake hands, clearly taken aback by the mayor's enthusiastic and amiable demeanor. All of this was meticulously captured by the camera operators nearby. Mayor Zahid addressed the camera, warmly welcoming friends from Huagua to visit this beautiful destination. Shortly thereafter, a group of more than 10 charming young women appeared before the lens, performing a traditional dance and showcasing local delicacies. Although these moments were not recorded, they will be aired at an appropriate time following the show's broadcast. Subsequently, a gathering of celebrities and crew members, under the radiant smile of Mayor Zahid, boarded a cruise ship. The vessel then set sail, gently departing the harbor. This small cruise ship features 3 levels, measuring 98 meters in length and 12 meters in width. With the crew, 8 celebrities, and their personal assistants, the total count reached 86 individuals. The captain and service staff were limited, comprising only a little over 10 people. With just over 100 guests aboard this compact vessel, it felt spacious and comfortable rather than crowded. To ensure the smooth filming of this episode, the cruise company thoughtfully provided a local guide, a young man well acquainted with the waters. His name was Vanna, a local with deep brown skin and curly hair. As the cruise commenced, cameras captured every moment, although the director advised that there was no need for the stars to perform artificially, allowing them to relax naturally. Vanna appeared somewhat nervous in front of the camera, stumbling over his words until he gradually eased into a more comfortable demeanor. After introductions, the cruise was headed toward a deserted island located in the southwestern Pacific, quite a distance away, with an expected arrival time of the following morning. Once the introduction was completed on camera, the celebrities eagerly engaged with Vanna, an essential aspect of the filming process. Upon the completion of this segment, director Sher-Ening waved his hand and smiled, announcing, "There's nothing else for now. You are free to explore." "Yay!" exclaimed Dilly Reba, jumping with joy, instantly relaxing and captivating the attention of the crew with her stunning beauty. It was no surprise, as Dilly Reba was exceptionally gorgeous, having undergone full makeup for the shoot, enhancing her allure. The other stars also drew significant admiration from onlookers, each one strikingly handsome or beautiful. Besides Dilly Reba, the female stars included Yang Zi and Zhu Jingyi. Dilly Reba wore an elegant white dress that revealed a glimpse of her fair skin, embodying a fairy-like essence. Yang Zi opted for a cropped linen tank top, paired with high-waisted wide-leg jeans and chunky-soled combat boots, presenting a bold and wild demeanor. Meanwhile, Zhu Jingyi leaned against the railing, exuding a more sensual aura. She donned a silk-printed camisole featuring a crisscross back design, held together by two delicate straps tied in a bow. Her lower half was adorned with a black leather bodycon skirt that hugged her curves, ending mid-thigh and accentuating her enticing figure. Chapter 370. The Eagles Band and 5 notable male stars. Deng Chao, much like the impression held by the majority online, radiated an infectious sense of humor. Once the recording of the show concluded, he engaged Wan Na in a discussion about the local customs and culture, effortlessly delivering jokes in fluent English that left Wan Na in fits of laughter. Before long, the two had forged a friendship. "Gulme, allow me to introduce you to some stunning beauties," he exclaimed. When Zhou Sheng approached and learned that Wan Na had just turned 19, he expressed surprise and promptly led him toward several female stars. Huang Lei, Xiao Zhan, and Kai Kuan were seated comfortably on chairs, basking in the soothing ocean breeze alongside Di Li Riba. Deng Chao, with an arm draped over Wan Na's shoulder, strode over and shouted from a distance, "Ladies, I have brought you some fresh meat." Yang Zi, upon hearing the commotion, tilted her head back. The glistening beads of sweat on her fair skin beneath her denim vest caught the light. With a playful raise of her eyebrow, she whistled at Wan Na, unabashedly declaring, "The young man is quite handsome. Is he here to charm the older sisters now that he has just come of age? Do be gentle with the young one." "Mind your words," Huang Lei interjected, propping himself up from his lounge chair and playfully placing a sun hat atop Xiao Zhan's head, his tone reminiscent of a seasoned elder imparting wisdom. Yang Zi rolled her eyes in response, feeling a twinge of annoyance. How irritating. If he were my senior and older, I would have retorted, she thought. Xiao Zhan, removing the hat, glanced up momentarily before reclining again, although he refrained from uttering anything derogatory. His aloof and distant demeanor drew furrowed brows from those present. In the days that followed, everyone would be living a primitive existence on the island. Wan Na was to assume a special role, and Deng Chao and Zhou Sheng had brought him here to facilitate introductions, ensuring that the dynamics of the show were not too stilted. "Xiao Zhan, say something. Why so cold?" Yang Zi ventured, unable to overlook his demeanor. Xiao Zhan acknowledged his misstep with a smile. "I'm feeling a bit seasick. I apologize," he replied, offering a gentle smile to Wan Na before reclining once more. "No worries. If you're feeling unwell, do take a rest," Deng Chao quickly interjected, sensing the awkward atmosphere. Kai Kuan, putting down the coconut he had been sipping, his gemstone earrings glimmering in the sunlight, inquired, "Can our young brother sing?" Feeling somewhat at a loss, Wan Na hastily replied, "I can sing a little." "Perfect," Kai Kuan exclaimed, his eyes lighting up. He straightened from his lounge chair and called out to a nearby assistant, "Please bring me my guitar." As someone who excelled in singing, dancing, and basketball, he always made sure to have his guitar on hand. In a short while, a beautifully crafted wooden guitar was delivered. "Wan Na, choose a song you're good at. I'll accompany you," Kai Kuan said, deftly tuning the strings as the metallic notes chimed under his fingertips. Intrigued by Kai Kuan's invitation, the others leaned in. Zhou Sheng wrapped an arm around Wan Na's neck, eagerly asking, "What song are you planning to sing? Let me help you with suggestions." "I shall sing a song by the Eagles, though my voice may not be pleasing. Please do not mock me. I am acutely aware that the esteemed individuals before me are luminaries of Huagua, and singing in their presence is indeed a considerable pressure." As I was about to decline, Zhou Sheng promptly encouraged me, saying, "It's not a formal performance. We are merely here to entertain ourselves, so don't be anxious. Besides, you have quite exquisite taste. I too enjoy this song. How about we sing it together? Do not be shy, dear Wana. I shall support you." Zhu Jingyi, standing nearby, stifled a giggle, her beautiful visage rendering my cheeks even rosier. It is only fitting for a foreigner to sing songs of their own kind. What is there to fear? Wang Lei smiled faintly. However, his words were met with another exasperated glance from Yang Zi. Encouraged by the others, I gathered my courage. Kai Kun rose, strummed a few chords on his guitar, and nodded, signaling his readiness. Zhou Sheng stepped beside me, tilting his head with a smile. I will handle the harmonies, ensuring the atmosphere is perfectly set. As the guitar's prelude resonated, my youthful yet clear voice flowed with the sea breeze. The song captivated Kai Kun's attention. Zhou Sheng joined in at the right moment, enhancing the song's emotional depth. As the final note faded, the audience erupted into enthusiastic applause. Who would have thought our dear Wana had such hidden talent? Dili Reba exclaimed in surprise, clapping. Indeed, I could tell this young man was extraordinary. Deng Zhao beamed with pride, as if he himself had received encouragement for his own singing. With the atmosphere charged, Zhou Sheng declared, I shall sing a song as well. This immediately captured everyone's attention. What shall you sing? I will accompany you, Kai Kun said, gently strumming his guitar, a serene smile gracing his face. One could only commend Kun. Even his guitar playing was strikingly impressive. Before Zhou Sheng could respond, I blurted out, I know you want to sing Big Fish. The entire group wore expressions of incredulity, staring at me in disbelief. This was unexpected. It would be normal for a domestic individual to guess Zhou Sheng's desire to sing that song, but I, a foreigner, had managed to predict it. Zhou Sheng appeared equally surprised, a hint of joy gradually illuminating his face. Could it be that his fame had reached foreign shores? Even this young child was familiar with his signature song. I sheepishly scratched my head and said, I learned about your upcoming performance and specifically researched your information online. I truly adore your song Big Fish, and I played it on repeat countless times. Zhou Sheng's expression brightened at my words. Initially, he had thought that his fame had expanded overseas. Nevertheless, knowing that I cherished his music brought him great joy. He had not anticipated encountering such an understanding young fan in a foreign land. A gentle smile graced his lips as he affectionately ruffled my hair, his eyes brimming with warmth. He then walked to the edge of the deck, gazing out at the vast expanse of the sea. It was as if he stood upon a concert stage, bowing slightly to the audience before him. Kai Kun deftly lifted his guitar once more, tuning it to the melodious and soothing prelude of Big Fish. Zhou Sheng closed her eyes, inhaling deeply, as the first line of lyrics flowed from her lips. It felt as if the entire world had fallen into silence. The ocean waves quietly enveloped the night, cascading into the corners beyond the horizon. A great fish swam through the crevices of dreams, gazing upon your slumbering silhouette. When Zhou Sheng's ethereal voice resonated, everyone closed their eyes, quietly savoring the enchanting melody that danced beside their ears. Chapter 371. Director, you deceived us. The servers and crew aboard the vessel paused in their tracks, captivated by the song. Once Zhou Sheng concluded her performance, the Papuan audience raised their thumbs in admiration, though they could not comprehend the lyrics. The universal language of music transcended borders, and the poignant melody touched their hearts. Exclamations of awe echoed around, much to Zhou Sheng's delight. Yet, she maintained a humble demeanor, gently bowing to express her gratitude. A thunderous applause erupted aboard the ship, with Vanna clapping the loudest, her reddish-brown face nearly turning a deep purple with excitement. Kai Kun set his guitar aside, still savoring the enchanting melody in his mind. Truth be told, although he was a capable singer himself, he could not help but envy Zhou Sheng's voice, which seemed to be divinely destined for this art. At that moment, a well-dressed crew member approached, holding a single flower. Kneeling before Zhou Sheng, he startled her, prompting her to instinctively reach out to assist him. Please rise. Just hand me the flower directly. There's no need for kneeling. However, the gentleman uttered a phrase that utterly disarmed Zhou Sheng. Beautiful lady, your singing is simply exquisite. To express my admiration, may I present you with this flower? I believe only this lovely bloom is worthy of someone as beautiful and graceful as you. Zhou Sheng's expression froze, her face alternating between hues of green and white. Someone in the audience could not contain their laughter, prompting a ripple of amusement among the crowd. Ha ha, this is too funny. Deng Xiao wiped a tear from his eye and embraced Zhou Sheng, saying, this isn't your fault. If anyone's to blame, it must be your extraordinary voice. Coupled with your attire, it's understandable that our friend mistook you. As he spoke, Deng Xiao exchanged glances with the flustered crew member, who immediately understood. His face reddening as he explained, I sincerely apologize. Your voice is so enchanting, I momentarily lost myself. Before he could finish, Deng Chao took the flower and thrust it into Zhou Sheng's arms, saying, "Here, accept this flower. Let it be from your fans." Zhou Sheng, caught between laughter and exasperation, ultimately accepted the flower, offering a warm smile to her endearing admirer. Having encountered such situations numerous times, her resilience had grown. Had this happened during her early career, it would have surely left her fuming for quite some time. Director Shi Yining observed the scene from a distance, unable to suppress a broad smile that revealed his prominent teeth. "Have we captured everything?" he inquired. A member of the filming crew nodded slightly in affirmation. The following day, as dawn broke, the stars who had risen early yawned while listening to director Shi Yining's address. As the chief director of the 6th season of the Extreme Challenge program, he may not have been particularly tall and had gained a bit of weight, yet his unwavering dedication had been crucial to the show's success. After a night of sailing, the arrival at the small island was imminent. Standing before the sleepy celebrities, Shi Yining cautioned, "Once I finish this statement, the cameras will start rolling, so please be ready." The response was a chorus of half-hearted acknowledgments, yet they mustered their energy to take their positions. Shi Yining could only smile wryly and continued, "We are about to reach our filming destination, a remote, uninhabited island where you will face a 3-day survival challenge. I will now outline the rules of the challenge." While the specifics would be revealed in due time, they listened attentively, for the audience would be unaware of the nuances. Without this introduction, viewers might be left perplexed once the program aired, rendering this segment indispensable. Maintaining his smile, director Shi elaborated, "In this challenge, you will embody the spirit of wilderness survival, returning to a completely primal state for 3 days. All of your phones and tablets will be confiscated and no electronic devices are permitted on the island. Furthermore, aside from the props provided by the production team, items such as lighters and magnifying glasses are strictly prohibited." At this pronouncement, the stars collectively groaned, with Deng Chao's reaction being the most theatrical. Director Shi wore a smug expression as he added, "Don't think these are the only stipulations. All snacks are off-limits as well. Once the challenge commences, the production crew will supply you with a single bag of bread for emergencies. In essence, the only items you may bring to the island, aside from necessary clothing and toiletries, are those provided by the production team. Do not even think about sneaking in extra items, as your luggage will undergo thorough inspection. Any excess belongings will be confiscated." Upon hearing this, Zhu Jingyi, Diliriba, and Yang Zi pouted in displeasure. "Director, didn't you say we could bring anything as long as it fit in our suitcase?" One of them protested. "Yes, Director. You deceived us. I have so many snacks. I will starve without them. Please, let's bring a bit more." Despite their attempts at charm and persuasion, Director Shi remained unmoved. Such is the nature of the program. A certain contrast must be created. Meanwhile, several male stars maintained calm expressions, seemingly eager for the challenge. For men often possess a profound interest in wilderness survival endeavors. Now, under the assurance of safety, one can personally indulge in the experience, and they are elated beyond measure. "Director, did you not mention a segment involving props earlier? Hurry and bring them forth," Deng Chao exclaimed eagerly. "The props will not be distributed to you just yet. Once you reach the island, there will be a segment for drawing props. What you draw will depend on your luck. I can only say that obtaining advantageous props will significantly ease your survival challenge over the next 3 days." Director Shi Yining responded, inciting discontent among several individuals. Zhou Sheng, however, chuckled mischievously and nudged Deng Chao, saying, "What does it matter what props we get? We'll be on the same team." Just as Deng Chao was about to respond, the director interrupted, "You cannot form teams privately. Once you arrive on the island, the production team will arrange a fair drawing for team assignments." "Ah, Director, how could you be so unreasonable? You are truly wicked." Shi Yining smiled placidly and continued, "Let not be said that the production team is deceiving you. This is for your safety and to prevent hunger. We have arranged for a special individual." As Shi Yining spoke, he paused and gestured towards Vanna, prompting the camera to shift its focus. "During your 3 days of survival, each person will have one opportunity to call for help, meaning each group will have 2 chances. Vanna will rush to assist you at the earliest opportunity. Do not underestimate him. He hails from a fishing family and is adept in fire-making, fishing, and hunting, ensuring your satisfaction. However, the assistance will be limited to 30 minutes. As Shi Yining's words concluded, the stars present perked up immediately. Deng Chao was the first to react, swiftly approaching Vanna with a beaming smile and presenting a pack of chocolate. "Brother Vanna, this is my secret stash of snacks, a little tribute to you." We will surely rely on you on the island. Indeed, Young Z chimed in, squeezing his way over and handing Vanna a large bag of konjac snacks. Look at my delicate skin. If I get sunburned on the island, I will need your care. Even the usually aloof Xiao Zhan lowered his guard. Pulling out a pair of outdoor gloves, I've heard you are skilled at fishing. Please use these gloves to protect your hands. Originally intending to prepare some delicious food for the group, Huang Lei contemplated briefly before rummaging through his suitcase and presenting a collection of spices to Vanna. Faced with the onslaught of their enthusiasm, Vanna's face flushed crimson. He fidgeted with the hem of his clothing, stammering, "No, there's no need for this. I am merely doing my best. You shall be our savior from now on. With you around, we feel assured." The stars insisted, refusing to relent. Zhou Sheng draped an arm around Vanna's shoulders, half joking, half serious. Vanna, overwhelmed by the praise, turned beet red, his ears resembling ripe shrimp, and as he looked down, a blush crept up his neck. He cast a furtive glance at the camera and muttered softly, "It's not that impressive," which only elicited more laughter from the group. In the frame, Vanna, blushing furiously, stood surrounded by the others, resembling a fawn inadvertently caught in a pack of wolves. Director Shi Yining approached Vanna to inquire about his well-being. Then Vanna nodded and remarked, "This island is characterized by a tropical climate, abundant with coconut palms, cocoa beans, wild pineapples, durians, and other edible delights. The island is home to a variety of creatures, including wild turkeys, birds of paradise, gardener birds, nesting birds, and platypuses, along with some wild boars and jungle fowl, as well as snakes, creating a bounteous supply of food." Upon hearing about the snakes, several girls felt a wave of trepidation. The thought of those long, hairless, slippery beings instilled fear in their hearts. Zhu Jingyi tugged at Yangzi's arm and exclaimed, "There are snakes on the island. Are you afraid?" "I'm not scared at all." Although Yangzi felt a flicker of fear within, he maintained a facade of bravery, responding, "Snakes are a good thing. After all, they're a source of food rich in protein and fats, making them a particularly fine ingredient." His eloquence left Zhu Jingyi momentarily speechless. Was she always this courageous? Noticing her admiration, Dilly Reba interjected, "When you catch a snake, let me have a taste. I've never tried snake meat before." Yangzi's expression froze for a moment before he waved his hand and replied, "No problem. I'll let you know once I catch one." 2 hours later, a small island came into view. The isle was oval-shaped, adorned with lush forests that enveloped its center, where several small hills stood majestically. A circle of sandy beach bordered the perimeter, with only one side featuring a rocky cliff. Soon, the cruise ship approached the safe side, anchoring in deeper waters to avoid grounding. The crew lowered the yacht, ferrying the production team and stars ashore before returning to transport supplies and equipment, all meticulously recorded by the cameras. In addition to the 8 stars, the director, and the filming crew, the production team had brought along 3 local doctors and several bodyguards to handle any potential dangers on the island. Upon their arrival, Director Shi Yining directed the crew to begin setting up the filming site. The shooting had yet to commence. Diliriba, Yu Yingyi, and Yangzi strolled onto the beach to capture photographs. Bathed in the morning light, the sand sparkled like gold. The 3 girls sat barefoot on the shore, as the fine grains of sand slipped through their toes. In the distance, the sea transitioned from a deep navy to lighter shades of blue, merging seamlessly with the clouds on the horizon. The waves, adorned with foamy silver, gently lapped at the shore, occasionally revealing vibrant shells. The scenery was breathtakingly beautiful. Dilly Reba removed her straw hat, allowing the sea breeze to dance through her hair. She stepped barefoot into the water and, in a moment of delight, bent down to pick up a heart-shaped coral fragment, exclaiming, "Look, how incredibly lucky am I!" Zhu Jingyi hurried over upon hearing the sound, her white dress billowing gracefully in the sea breeze. She leaned closer to Reba, exclaiming in delight, "This is truly wonderful." Yangzi, holding a selfie stick, stepped back a few paces and cheerfully called out, "Strike a pose. I'm going to take a photo." Yay! The two quickly formed a peace sign, their faces adorned with sweet smiles. Although there existed a degree of competition for resources among them, 3 days of wilderness survival had forged a temporary bond of intimacy. After all, they were all part of the entertainment industry, and it was essential to maintain a polished facade. As the trio laughed and played, a melodious bird song shattered the tranquility of the beach. A vividly feathered bird of paradise soared past from the depths of the coconut grove, its tail trailing iridescent hues and carving a dreamlike arc through the air. "Look, it's a bird of paradise," Zhu Jingyi exclaimed, pointing excitedly at the sky. Yangzi quickly raised her phone, eager to capture the moment. However, the bird seemed startled. Having not encountered humans for quite some time, it promptly flew away. Why did it leave so quickly? How frustrating. Yangzi grumbled as she lowered her phone. Reba comforted her, saying, "It's all right. We'll be here for 3 more days. And we may have another chance to see it." "True," Yangzi replied, glancing around with a smile. "This island is abundant in resources. Vanna wasn't lying. There are so many coconut trees, and I even spotted mangoes in the forest. I believe we could survive solely on fruit for 3 days." Reba inhaled deeply as the sweet aroma of fruit mingled with the sea breeze. "It smells delightful. The mangoes must be ripe." The 3 of them exchanged smiles, realizing that this adventure was not as arduous as they had initially imagined. "I envy you, Reba. With the company's owner being Wang Yao, the resources are truly endless," Zhu Jingyi suddenly remarked. Hearing this, Reba's gaze drifted off thoughtfully. Her participation in this immensely popular Extreme Challenge show was indeed due to Wang Xiao. "I wonder where he is. I haven't seen him in ages. I do miss him a bit," she confessed. Yangzi's eyes narrowed with curiosity as she asked, "Reba, how well do you know your boss? What is Wang Xiao like?" "He is a really nice guy. I've only met him once, so I'm not very familiar with him." Reba hesitated before answering honestly. "You can't still be unsure. With your looks, how could Wang Xiao not be interested?" "Stop pretending." Yangzi scoffed. She found it hard to believe Reba's words. Wealthy young masters rarely overlooked a tempting opportunity. Even she felt a twinge of envy at Reba's beauty, let alone any man. Surely, no man could resist her allure, and Yangzi remained unconvinced. "Why would I lie to you?" Reba replied, exasperated, stamping her foot lightly. Zhu Jingyi, sensing the sincerity in Reba's demeanor, suggested, "Since Wang Xiao is the largest shareholder of your company, could you possibly introduce me to him? I have always admired Wang Xiao." Dilly Reba was momentarily taken aback, her gaze fixed upon Zhu Jingyi's cheek. What did she be thinking? Dilly Reba was well aware, yet for reasons unknown. She felt no desire to introduce Zhu Jingyi to Wang Xiao. How could she tactfully refuse her? Dilly Reba found herself in a quandary. Just then, Director Shi Yining called out from a distance, holding a small megaphone. "A few major stars, come over quickly. We are about to begin." Dilly Reba felt as if a weight had been lifted, her lips curling into a smile as she turned to Zhu Jingyi, saying, "Let us not dwell on that for now. It's crucial we start filming. Once this episode airs, our fan base will surely increase." With that, she affectionately linked her arm with Zhu Jingyi's, pulling her towards the filming location before Zhu Jingyi could respond. Suddenly, Dilly Reba's peripheral vision caught something, causing her to halt. "What's wrong?" Zhu Jingyi inquired, puzzled. Without answering, Dilly Reba turned her gaze toward the ocean, where a bizarre yacht over 100 meters long emerged. What made it peculiar was its bow, which was dramatically raised, and its hull, which leaned precariously backward, appearing dilapidated with shattered windows. It resembled a vessel that had narrowly escaped a battlefield. Zhu Jingyi and Yang Zi followed Dilly Reba's gaze, their mouths agape in astonishment. Yang Zi exclaimed, "What kind of ship is this? Why is it in such disrepair? Didn't the mayor assure us that no one would disturb our filming?" The 3 exchanged bewildered glances as they watched the strange yacht approach the island. Director Shi Yining also noticed the situation, his brows furrowing deeply. He summoned his assistant, inquiring, "What is going on with this suddenly appearing vessel? Its destination can't possibly be this island, can it?" The assistant, equally perplexed, hesitated before tentatively suggesting, "Should we contact Mayor Zahid?" "Forget it. Let us wait and see." Shi Yining replied, his expression grave. The yacht was drawing closer, and even if they wished to intervene, it was too late. They could only observe its intentions. Suddenly, Shi Yining's pupils dilated in horror as he saw the decrepit yacht barreling toward the beach like a runaway stallion, its speed unabated. "Everyone retreat. Quickly." His shout jolted everyone to attention. Shi Yining urgently grabbed his assistant, stumbling sideways as they fled. Dilly Reba reacted swiftly, seizing Zhu Jingyi's wrist and rolling into the nearby forest. The deafening roar and the splintering sound would ringing in their ears. The yacht showed no signs of slowing. Its iron bow cleaved through the shallows, carving a deep trench in the sand that reached 1/2 meter in depth. The sound of the hull scraping against the ground was akin to nails on glass, particularly grating. Only after the entire vessel had skidded over 100 meters along the beach did it finally come to a halt, its already battered hull now even more damaged. Once everything settled, Shi Ning, clutching his wildly racing heart, cautiously peered out from behind the tree. Only after witnessing the yacht come to a complete halt did he finally exhale in relief. The beach was engulfed in a cloud of dust, splintered wood mingling with sand and swirling in the wind. My gimbal. All the meticulously adjusted settings are now rendered useless. Damn it. The cameraman, holding the bent equipment, was hopping in frustration. Several crew members responsible for the set design surrounded the collapsed sunshade, lamenting their misfortune. The scene originally intended for filming the first lottery segment had been utterly disrupted by the waves generated by the yacht, leaving pots and pans scattered across the ground. What a mess. Shi Ning rolled up his sleeves and dashed towards the wrecked vessel. Is this a boat or a tank? The carefully arranged set has now transformed into a landfill. He pointed angrily at the yacht, his temples throbbing with rage. Truly an inauspicious start. Just as they arrived on the island, this calamity struck, clearly a bad omen. People in the entertainment industry are particularly superstitious, and this unfortunate incident left director Shi Ning seething with fury. But there was no choice but to accept the situation. I was terrified. Di Lihua emerged from the trees behind, her white dress splattered with mud, expressing her fears. I thought it was a pirate ship. Why is there not a single person on board? Supporting the still-shaken Zhu Jingyi, Di Lihua stepped out of the woods, gazing at the scene now reduced to ruins, unable to suppress a frown. Suddenly, Yangzi spotted a figure standing at the bow of the boat. She exclaimed excitedly, "Look over there, there is someone." At the sound of her voice, everyone turned to look. A silhouette appeared above, one hand resting in a pocket, gazing down at the people on the beach. "Hey, you up there?" Shi Ning shouted angrily. "Raise your captain. Do you have any idea this is private property? You can't just anchor here." Before he could finish, the figure suddenly stepped forward and leaped from the edge of the boat, which loomed 4 or 5 stories above the beach. "Ow!" The wind howled as it tore through the air, and everyone screamed in terror. Di Lihua's pupils constricted. Yangzi and Zhu Jingyi gasped in horror. Thud! With a deafening crash, the beach was once again shrouded in dust. As the dust began to settle, Di Lihua stood frozen in shock, her heart pounding violently. Wang Yu? Her racing heart recognized the identity of the figure before her before she could fully comprehend. Stumbling forward, she pushed past the crew gathered at the landing site, only to find the man kneeling in the sand. His bare upper body revealed a sculpted physique, muscular yet not bulky, with every muscle defined to perfection. As he breathed heavily, his beach shorts accentuated the visible 8-pack abs and the alluring V-line. Chapter 374. Such an opportunity is rare. Wang Xiao. What are you doing here? Approaching closer, Di Lihua exclaimed in delight as she watched Wang Yu rise to his feet. The yacht broke down and somehow drifted to this spot. To my astonishment, I encountered an old acquaintance in such an unexpected locale. A warm smile graced the chiseled features of Wang Yu. It was indeed a fortuitous coincidence. Di Li Ba chuckled softly, retrieving a tissue from her pocket and presenting it to Wang Yu. He graciously accepted it, expressing his gratitude. His gaze then swept across the surrounding crowd as he inquired, "What is this place? How did you come to be filming on the island? Are you not aware? We are in Papua New Guinea, a deserted island situated over 6,000 kilometers from Huagua. My company arranged for me to join the Extreme Challenge program, filming the 6th season. Remarkably, we encountered you shortly after arriving on the island," Di Li Ba elucidated. Wang Yu, momentarily taken aback by the distance they had traveled, focused intently on the keywords. Extreme Challenge Season 6? This cannot be right. I cannot possibly be mistaken. The 6th season of Extreme Challenge was not filmed on an island in my previous life. Di Li Ba, of course, could not be lying. This was indeed perplexing. Could some unforeseen circumstance have influenced this? Zhu Jingyi and Yang Zi, who had been trailing behind Di Li Ba, spotted Wang Yu, their eyes widening in astonishment. They gazed at his tall and athletic figure, their cheeks tinged with a charming blush. In the entertainment industry, there are many male stars with commendable physiques. However, none could compare to Wang Yu in terms of both allure and stature. The sparkle of admiration shone in their eyes. Wang Xiao, is that truly you? Hello. I am Zhu Jingyi. It is a pleasure to meet you. Interestingly, we are fellow compatriots. I also hail from Rome province. Zhu Jingyi stepped forward, respectfully addressing Wang Yu while nervously fiddling with the hem of her dress, her expression filled with anticipation as she sought his attention. Rumors online suggested that Wang Yu had an affinity for beautiful women and numerous girlfriends. Her face, often lauded as a peerless beauty of 3 millennia, led her to believe that he could not possibly resist her charm. If she could become Wang Yu's girlfriend, a prosperous future in the entertainment industry awaited her. Abundant with resources, She envisioned herself as the most radiant star in the realm of entertainment, and thus, her smile grew ever more radiant in Wang Yu's presence. Yang Zi, observing her, rolled her eyes in exasperation. With her arms crossed, she tilted her head, scrutinizing Wang Yu before bursting into laughter. Zhu Jingyi, your manner of greeting is far too formal, akin to meeting a boss. She appraised Wang Yu with a glimmer of admiration, but refrained from any disrespectful behavior. Wang Xiao, hello, I am Yang Zi, the one who portrayed Xiao Shui in that television drama. You must have seen me in your youth? Yang Zi spoke playfully, her eyes curving into crescent moons, exuding a familiarity that eliminated any sense of awkwardness. Wang Yu met Zhu Jingyi's gaze before shaking hands with Yang Zi, responding, I indeed grew up watching your dramas. Ah, that is a tremendous honor. Yang Zi exclaimed, her surprise evident. While Yang Zi may not be the most prominent star in Huagua, she certainly held her own. However, in the memories of the post-90s generation, it holds a uniquely significant place. Rain, snow, hail, I yearn to dye these moments green, filled with various anecdotes that linger vividly in my mind. Wang Yu is no exception. He harbors a natural fondness for Yang Zi, though this face appears considerably more refined and beautiful than it did in childhood. Yet, the high technological sheen has seemingly stripped away its natural charm, leaving Wang Yu with a twinge of regret. Zhu Jingyi, noticing that Wang Yu is engrossed in laughter with Yang Zi, feels her pretty face flush with embarrassment, although she harbors a deep-seated annoyance. Standing before Wang Yu, the pinnacle of the wealthy elite in Huagua, she must stifle her ire and maintain her composure, awkwardly lingering to the side. Wang Yu raises an eyebrow, smiles, and glances at her, saying, let us be more relaxed. Since we've met, we are friends. Indeed, young Master Wang is quite amiable. Don't be nervous. Diliriba interjects, sensing the awkward atmosphere and hastily attempting to ease the tension. Zhu Jingyi's expression brightens considerably at these words, restoring her usual elegance. Yang Zi, with a hint of curiosity, pokes Wang Yu's muscular arm, exclaiming, wow, is this physique real? It's even more impressive than my fitness coach. The way you jumped off the boat earlier was so cool, like something out of a movie. Yang Zi's tone is infused with unabashed admiration, exuding a sisterly pride that starkly contrasts with Zhu Jingyi's calculated demeanor. She unconsciously overlooks how Wang Yu managed to leap from such a height without injury. In the distance, director Shi Yining, initially fuming over the disruption of the venue, suddenly finds himself invigorated upon recognizing Wang Yu, his anger dissipating entirely. In Huahua, those within the entertainment circle are most likely to be acquainted with Wang Yu, whose fame eclipses that of any star. This notoriety is primarily due to the sensational upheaval caused by his handling of Huiguang Media, which has compelled Shi Yining to acknowledge him. Deng Zhao, too, recognizes Wang Yu at once, though disbelief lingers in his expression. Could this be Wang Yu? He exclaims, astonished by his striking entrance. Zhou Sheng and Huang Lei nod in unison, urging, forget about how handsome he is. This is Wang Yu. What are we waiting for? We must go introduce ourselves. Such an opportunity is rare. The group hastens forward, eager to extend their warm introductions. Wang Yu takes a few glances at Kai Cohen, a figure notorious across the internet, marking his first encounter with him in reality. It is evident that he possesses commendable looks, although he still pales in comparison to the readers before their screens. As Shi Yining and the others conclude their conversation, he quickly approaches Wang Yu and respectfully states, Young Master Wang, hello. I am the director of the Extreme Challenge program. It is a pleasure to meet you. Hello, Wang Yu replies, shaking his hand with a smile. Then, with subtle curiosity, he inquires, what brings you to such a remote location for filming? You may not be aware. Upon hearing this, Shi Yining's face was adorned with a broad smile. Our Extreme Challenge production team owes our ability to film here to your benevolence. Wang Yu, momentarily taken aback, pondered how their filming had anything to do with him. The connection seemed tenuous at best, and his expression turned icy as he fixed his gaze on Shi Yining, who immediately felt a chill run down his spine, his complexion paling. Chapter 375. Who is so blind? Shi Yining was perplexed, unsure of what he had said to offend the prominent figure before him, beads of anxious sweat forming on his brow. After a considerable pause, Wang Yu finally spoke. What do you mean by that? He continued cautiously. Our original plan was not to survive on a deserted island. It was merely that your company invested in our project. He glanced at Wang Yu's softening expression and continued. With ample funding, we altered our initial plans, and thus, we found ourselves here. In fact, you are our benefactor. Wang Yu's stern demeanor vanished, replaced by a smile. So that is how it is, he mused, understanding now why Shi Yining had claimed a connection to him. This also clarified their reason for embarking on this survival adventure. Suddenly, a cacophony of shouts erupted from a distance. Shi Yining and the assembled celebrities turned to look. Brother Wang, why did you jump down directly? It's too dangerous. He Zhaolian, having descended cautiously from the severely damaged yacht, rushed over upon spotting Wang Yu. He Yujun, He Zhao Xin, and Shi Mengyao, along with bodyguards and crew members, followed suit. Seeing such a crowd, Shi Yining was taken aback. Why had the He family's young masters and ladies come as well? What was the situation? He had merely aimed to film a program, yet it had evolved into a convoluted affair. Were these aristocratic youths truly so idle as to seek amusement in such a desolate place? The scenery was indeed splendid. He Yujun exclaimed, gazing at the breathtaking views of the island, his smile revealing a dazzling set of teeth. Shi Mengyao appeared relaxed, completely disregarding the prominent stars around her, playfully darting off to pick fruits. Standing on solid ground, apart from Wang Yu, they finally felt a sense of security. The harrowing events of the previous night still lingered in their minds, evoking a tinge of fear. They had suppressed their apprehension on the boat, concerned about the atmosphere. But now, as noon approached, the chefs had returned from foraging for fruits, preparing lunch aboard the vessel. The injured crew members remained resting, with others assigned to attend to them. Under the bodyguard's direction, a shaded area was cleared and furnished with sofas brought from the yacht for Wang Yu, He Zhaolian, and He Zhao Xin to sit and recuperate. Observing their expressions and the damaged yacht, Shi Yining speculated on the unfolding situation. He decided to set aside the filming for now. It was midday, and fostering a closer relationship with these affluent individuals seemed prudent. Perhaps fortune would favor him in the future. Young Master Wang, you have encountered an island amidst the tumultuous sea, and your vessel appears to be in such disrepair. Shi Yining sat somewhat awkwardly on the sofa, casting a glance at Wang Yu, who sat with an air of authority across from him. Naturally, Wang Yu would not divulge the encounter with sea monsters, for even if he did, Shi Yining would likely dismiss it as mere jest. Instead, he spoke in a measured tone. Indeed, last night we encountered a band of desperate rogues on the high seas. It caused quite a stir. I trust we are not intruding upon your filming? Wang Yu took a sip of tea, his smile warm and inviting. Shi Yining, noticing the shadows of an Ing and an Shao lurking behind Wang Yu, swallowed hard and quickly waved his hands, saying, not at all. We have only just arrived on the island. The set is yet to be arranged, and any filming would not commence until this afternoon. His words were tinged with bitterness. Originally, they had planned to create a dramatic moment for the stars at noon, testing their resourcefulness in finding food. However, given the circumstances, they would have to push the program's opening to the afternoon. He would never dare voice any concerns about disturbing their filming. After all, this was a person of great stature. Shi Yining looked at the yacht's battered condition, his heart racing. The outside world was indeed chaotic. Both young Master Wang and young Master He, heirs of two powerful families, had faced an attack. Who was so foolish as to provoke them without fear of retribution? He Yujun approached, carrying several coconuts, and plopped down to rest. After catching his breath, he remarked, the resources on this island are quite impressive. Fruits abound. Do try the coconut. It's rather delightful. Shi Mengyao also presented several mangoes to He Chaolian and He Chaoxin. He Chaolian accepted a mango, peeled it, and took a small bite, her eyes narrowing in delight. What a sweet mango! It's truly delicious. You must try it. She then offered the mango to Wang Yu, who accepted it without hesitation, taking a generous bite and finishing half of it. The wild variety exceeded his expectations. He thought to pick a few more for the journey ahead. As his words faded, 3 of the He family's bodyguards approached, ready to gather some fruit. Wang Yu appeared merely as a guest, yet his words carried more weight than even He Youjuan's. The bodyguards willingly attended to his needs. Despite having witnessed an Ing and an Zhao's extraordinary prowess against the sea creatures on the deck last night, even such formidable figures were now eager to serve Wang Yu, ensuring his safety. They had been specifically instructed by the venerable He Hongshun, fully aware of Wang Yu's noble status. After the previous night's spectacle, they could hardly meet Wang Yu's gaze. Once the bodyguards had departed, He Yujun took out his phone to check the time, then turned to Wang Yu, saying, our vessel should arrive in about 10 minutes. Shall we depart by boat, or should we arrange for a plane to pick us up? He Yujun felt a lingering sense of insecurity about returning by sea, considering the distance to Huagua was over 6,000 kilometers. Returning by boat took an excessively long time. To avoid encountering that troublesome giant octopus again on the way back, he proposed flying instead. However, since the boat was already nearing, they decided to return by sea. Wang Yu, fully aware of He Yojuan's concerns, remained completely untroubled, with Shadow and Dark Hawk around. Should that prehistoric octopus dare to return, it would not escape so easily this time. Seeing Wang Yu's indifference, He Yujun felt reassured. If he was unperturbed, there was little for He Yujun to fear. Wang Yu turned to the reserve director, Shi Yining, and smiled. It's almost noon. Shall we share a meal together? How could I possibly accept? Shi Yining replied, rubbing his hands together, his face aglow with delight. After all, he was in the presence of Wang Yu and He Yujun, both heirs of prominent families. In the past, he had no right to dine with them. Thank you for your hospitality, young Master Wang, a nearby star remarked, his expression particularly respectful. Even Deng Zhao, usually quite lively, appeared subdued and cautious in their presence. Director Shi Yining observed this scene with a peculiar glint in his eyes, scanning back and forth between Wang Yu and He Yujun. Chapter 376, truly a grand gesture as the group engaged in light conversation, with the assistance of Shadow and a cadre of bodyguards. A solid peachwood table was brought down from the yacht. Initially, they intended to dine aboard, but He Chaoyin and He Chaoxin, among others, felt that dining on the beach would be far more enchanting. Thus, they requested the table be set up on the sand. At precisely noon, the crew prepared rudimentary pulley systems, allowing the chef's culinary creations to be served in succession. Li Ri Ba, sitting at a distance, caught a whiff of the delectable aromas wafting through the air, nearly salivating at the thought. Ri Ba, you have a good relationship with young Master Wang. Do you think he might invite us to join? Yang Zi, sitting nearby, prodded her arm, equally tempted by the enticing scents. Deng Zhao and Kai Kuan, maintaining dignified postures, wore professional smiles as they glanced towards Wang Yu. When Wang Yu and He Yojuan's gazes swept their way, they promptly returned with eager smiles, anxious to uphold decorum before such distinguished young masters. Even Zhu Jingyi, who had previously garnered Wang Yu's disfavor, wore a radiant smile, sitting demurely with her legs crossed. After a brief hesitation, Li Ri Ba glanced at Wang Yu and said, I suppose he might. To the outside world, these illustrious and renowned stars appeared highly esteemed. Yet in Wang Yu's eyes, they were merely ordinary. Li Ri Ba remained uncertain whether she would be able to share a meal with him. Before long, the table was laden with a plethora of exquisite dishes, their tantalizing aromas permeating the air. The chefs had prepared coconut chicken soup, freshly caught lobsters, and other local delicacies. Shadow, Dark Hawk, please join us for the meal, Wang Yu invited. Wang Yu suddenly turned to the two individuals behind him and spoke. The two were taken aback by his words and quickly declined, saying, Young Master Wang, we can take turns going to the kitchen for a meal later. However, before the Shadow could finish speaking, Wang Yu interrupted him directly. There is no need to be so concerned. From now on, you shall dine at the same table as me. He did not permit them to eat separately with other bodyguards, insisting that they share the meal together. Such talent deserved no less than the utmost respect, and they were worthy of Wang Yu's serious consideration. The bodyguard he had previously hired, Lung Feng, had risked his life to protect him while in Hong Kong, and the reasons for this were evident. It stemmed from the trust and respect he had shown them, which made them willing to risk their lives for him. Of course, a generous salary was also a significant factor. Shadow and Dark Hawk were taken aback, but mildly declined before ultimately accepting the invitation. At this juncture, Wang Yu curiously inquired, when you were covertly protecting us, how did you manage your meals? Young master, we used to survive on a few compressed biscuits, and if we felt hungry, we would take turns going outside for a proper meal, Dark Hawk replied with a resigned smile. Yet, after years of military life, she had grown accustomed to such conditions. Since descending the mountain under her master's command to work in the relevant departments of Huagua, it had been a feast or famine existence. She had long since adapted to this lifestyle. Moreover, since coming to Wang Yu's side, there had been little to do, and this was their first engagement, akin to a vacation. How unfortunate, Wang Yu mused silently. It was rather pitiable that such skilled individuals lived in such a manner. Had they come from humble beginnings with such abilities, they would likely not have been so honest. He Yujun, upon hearing this, cast an envious glance at Wang Yu's two bodyguards. He was aware of their capabilities and thus treated them warmly, subtly probing why they had been able to fend off the sea monster the previous night. However, Shadow and Dark Hawk were quite slippery, evading the questions with ease. Shi Yining and other uninformed stars, witnessing this scene, felt their hearts race. Wasn't this merely a bodyguard? Was it truly necessary to make such a fuss? To the delight of Li Ri Ba and others, Wang Yu directly invited them to dine together, showing no prejudice simply because they were celebrities. Instead, everyone enjoyed the meal thoroughly. Amidst the clinking of glasses, the outsiders were all astute individuals. Shi Yining, as the director, was well-versed in the culture of banquets. He frequently toasted Wang Yu and He Yu-jun. Deng Xiao, Kai Kuan, and several other stars also exerted themselves to entertain. Zhou Sheng and Kai Kuan took turns rising to sing splendidly, enhancing the atmosphere of the banquet. Suddenly, a long, sonorous horn echoed across the sea. A silver-gray medium-sized cruise ship sliced through the shimmering waves, drawing Wang Yu's gaze upward. He noticed the deck was filled with bodyguards clad in black attire. What purpose do they have for those weapons? Wang Yu chuckled lightly, prompting the others to look over in astonishment. What on earth? Is this a declaration of war? Deng Xiao, Di Li Ba, and the others were momentarily frozen, their eyes wide with shock. Every window on the ship had a vantage point for firing. Yang Zi even noticed some bodyguards wielding rocket launchers, vigilantly surveying the waters below. She covered her mouth with her hand, inwardly perplexed. This is not international waters. How could they possess such an arsenal and brazenly enter another country? Were they not concerned about provoking an international incident? She was utterly baffled, yet profoundly astonished. Shi Yining slapped his thigh and laughed heartily. Wang Xiao, He Xiao, you truly are extravagant. After being robbed by those blind pirates last night on the high seas, you've summoned this many people. Impressive indeed. As he spoke, a broad smile adorned Shi Yining's face, and he gave a thumbs up. If it weren't for Wang Yu noticing his trembling legs, he might have truly believed he was a remarkable individual. After that, Shi Yining attempted to stabilize his slightly unsteady legs, though his smile appeared somewhat strained. He winked at the stars. The celebrities, regaining their composure, began to speak in unison. Wang Xiao, this display is more thrilling than a Hollywood blockbuster. We're merely acting, no matter how gruesome it appears on television. It's all fiction. But Wang Xiao and He Xiao are the real deal, truly impressive. Deng Xiao wiped the cold sweat from his brow, forcing a jest. Had I known I would be following Wang Xiao, I wouldn't have thought Extreme Challenge was so extreme after all. Haha. Following his words, the expressions of the celebrities softened slightly. Witnessing this spectacle, Zhu Jingyi, who had initially felt slighted by Wang Yu, wiped the beads of sweat from her forehead, though she had harbored some annoyance. Upon seeing the fully armed yacht, her grievances evaporated. She realized how naive she had been. One simply could not afford to offend such a wealthy heir. She was relieved that she had refrained from uttering anything untoward that might have provoked Wang Yu. Neither Wang Yu nor He Yu-jun attempted to clarify the misunderstanding. They exchanged glances, and He Yu-jun shrugged, saying, "Don't look at me. I merely relayed the situation to my family. I had no idea they would send so many people. Why must Dad be so dramatic? Aren't we safe now?" He Chao Xian remarked, though inwardly. She felt a heightened sense of security. Nearby, the Papua New Guineans were astonished, their eyes nearly popping out. They had accompanied the program crew merely to earn some money and catch a glimpse of foreign stars. This was their most genuine desire. Suddenly, an uninhabited island, long untouched, was graced by the arrival of a yacht, but now it was swarmed by individuals armed with rifles and cameras. Was this an assault on their nation? Despite their country's struggles, it remained a sovereign state. Not long after, the yacht anchored not far from the island. A kayak was lowered into the water. Upon reaching the beach, 3 young men clad in suits disembarked and sprinted towards He Yu-jun. The leader stepped forward and respectfully stated, "Young master, we are relieved you are safe. We have come to join the fun. It's fine. Your presence is what matters." He Yu-jun, unperturbed, inquired, "Have you eaten? Would you care to join me for a meal?" "No, thank you," the 3 responded, waving their hands in unison and stepping aside. Wang Yu's peripheral vision caught sight of a waitress approaching once more, balancing a tray. With a light clap, he silenced the gathering. All eyes turned toward Wang Yu, their faces painted with confusion. "What is it, Brother Wang Yu?" He Chaoyan raised a glass of freshly squeezed coconut juice, taking a small sip before asking. The waitress placed a covered dish before each individual, leaving them in suspense regarding its contents. Wang Yu's lips curled into a smile as he glanced at Di Li Ba, Kai Kuan, and Deng Xiao, saying, "You are in for a treat. The ingredients here are seldom encountered by most in the world." Surely, young Master Wang is not jesting? Premium ingredients are generally limited to black truffles and caviar. Who among us hasn't savored those? Upon hearing Wang Yu's remark, Shi Yining nearly burst into laughter. However, to avoid offending Wang Yu, Shi Yining restrained his amusement. The attendees were either affluent young masters and misses or top-tier celebrities of Huagua. While they might not match Wang Yu, He Yu-jun, and their ilk, To the average person, they epitomize the upper echelons of society. So what if it's premium ingredients? Who hasn't he tasted them? Is Wang Yu attempting to flaunt his privilege, as if we are mere country bumpkins? One pondered. Perhaps what Wang Yu presented was indeed something they had never experienced. Zhu Jingyi nodded, smiling. I typically eat sparingly to maintain my figure. Today, I shall indulge a little. What young Master Wang praises must be extraordinary. I suspect the chef has employed some unique creativity, which I eagerly anticipate. The celebrity scoffed at Wang Yu's words, though none dared to undermine his reputation. Their lips bore no truth, only exaggerated performances. To be honest, I am quite curious. I detect a delightful aroma, Di Lieba remarked, her nose twitching as she took a careful sniff, her eyes widening in surprise. This scent was unlike anything she had encountered before. Perhaps Wang Yu was not exaggerating. Could it truly be something exceptional? She glanced at Wang Yu in astonishment. Others, upon hearing Di Lieba's comments, exchanged glances, their expressions momentarily frozen. At that instant, the waitstaff unveiled the covers of the dishes, releasing a rich fragrance that enveloped the air, surprising even Wang Yu himself. Brother Wang Yu, it smells divine, He Chaoxin exclaimed, nearly drooling at the enticing aroma. She swiftly speared a piece of meat and placed it in her mouth. Her eyes lit up instantly. Her cheeks slightly puffed as the juices exploded in her mouth with each bite, eliciting a sound of satisfaction. Eagerly, she grabbed another piece, chewing enthusiastically while exclaiming, "This is unbelievably delicious. The meat is both tender and flavorful, with an extraordinary fragrance. It's simply marvelous. Sisters Chao Yin and Meng Yao, do indulge yourselves." Witnessing their joyful consumption, Di Lieba could no longer restrain herself. She picked up a piece and placed it in her mouth, her eyes widening in surprise. Her brows arched into crescent moons as she nodded repeatedly, exclaiming, "Who would have thought it looked so ordinary yet tastes so extraordinary?" The others, unable to contain their enthusiasm, eagerly joined in, all captivated by this culinary delight. Wang Yu glanced at the plate filled with tender, braised octopus tentacles, remnants from last night's catch that had been left aboard the yacht. Initially destined for disposal, Shadow and Dark Falcon insisted these were treasures, nourishing to the body, which is why they had been preserved in the yacht's freezer. Wang Yu popped a piece into his mouth, savoring the flavor. He was thoroughly satisfied. This was far beyond the realm of ordinary meat. The aroma was intoxicating, leaving a lingering taste even after swallowing. The dining scene transformed into a lavish banquet reminiscent of a corporate feast in the land of the morning calm, with contented sighs echoing around the table. Director Shi Yining licked his plate and, upon regaining his senses, felt a wave of embarrassment wash over him. "This is simply exquisite. What kind of meat is this?" he inquired. He Yujun, with a mischievous grin, replied, "Why, this is dragon meat. Just inhale that fragrance. Only dragon meat possesses such aroma." Meng Yao shot He Yujun a disapproving glance at his nonsensical demeanor, but quickly returned her focus to the delectable dish before her. "We didn't even encounter an island last night. The yacht's damage was actually caused by a divine dragon. That creature was a formidable challenge, yielding only a meager 2 taels of meat," He Yujun recounted, smacking his lips. Yet, upon seeing the empty plate, he reluctantly set down his chopsticks, his mind drifting to the storied treasure of octopus meat aboard the yacht, his spirits soaring. Though last night's octopus was rather unsightly, its flesh was undeniably delectable. Shi Yining could only smile awkwardly, secretly musing on how he had been underestimated. Divine dragon, indeed. He suddenly felt a warmth coursing through his body. "Am I feeling ill?" he pondered. Meanwhile, Zhu Jingyi, Yang Zi, and Di Lieba noticed a flush creeping onto their cheeks, panic rising within them. They hesitated to consume any more of the remaining meat, fear evident on their faces. Chao Yan, reveling in her meal, felt her own cheeks warm as she glanced at them and reassured, "Do not worry, it will pass shortly. Your bodies are simply unaccustomed, much like consuming ginseng, perfectly normal. Don't say I didn't warn you. Missing this opportunity means it won't be so easy to savor such delights again." Wang Yu remarked nonchalantly. Taking Wang Yu's words at face value, Di Lieba continued to enjoy the succulent morsels on her plate, trusting his assurances. Yang Zi resumed eating as well. Zhu Jingyi clenched her teeth, gazing at the white meat on her plate, wondering if this affluent young master was truly jesting. Perhaps it was indeed some exquisite delicacy unknown to her. The boys present showed no particular reaction. It could not be said that this only affected the girls. The portion of meat in the platter was rather meager. according to Shadow's estimation, for an individual to noticeably enhance their physical constitution. One would need to consume over 10 pounds of octopus meat. Yet, even such a small amount could still yield some improvement in health. Wang Yu had specifically inquired about this matter. Long-term consumption of beast meat could even extend a person's lifespan, though the effect was not profound, merely adding a few extra years to one's life. After the meal, aside from Wang Yu, Shadow, and Dark Hawk, the others felt a bit more invigorated. How remarkable! Could it truly be that extraordinary? I feel more rejuvenated than after consuming a restorative broth made from nourishing herbs. If it's available for purchase, I shall procure some for home consumption. Deng Zhao felt a sense of ease throughout his body, his chronic lumbar issues from years of filming alleviated, especially with his second brother feeling rather restless. You probably cannot acquire this. It's quite rare, Wang Yu replied with a smile. Beast meat, being an extraordinary substance, typically does not circulate in the market. Whenever it does appear, it is swiftly acquired by noble families, fetching astronomical prices. Many wealthy individuals find it difficult to obtain, as entering that circle is quite challenging. Naturally, Wang Yu had no intention of selling this beast meat. With the freezer for storage, there was no concern about spoilage. He wondered if his grandfather, mother, and Wang Jiangwo had had the chance to taste it. They likely had. After the meal, the celebrities headed over to the production team to hear the director's instructions. Wang Yu and the others did not rush to depart immediately. Instead, Wang Yu took Yi Chaolian and He Chaoxin to explore the small island. After discussing some filming precautions, Shi Yining announced a break, allowing everyone to engage in free activities. Contrary to the usual filming schedule, he instead entered a tent that had been temporarily erected, where assistant director Yi Chengsheng and on-site producer Wan Lei awaited him. As soon as Shi Yining sat down, Yi Chengsheng eagerly inquired, "Old Shi, what was the reason for summoning us?" Time had already been delayed significantly, and if they did not hasten their filming, they might not meet their schedule. Wan Lei frowned, casting an unsatisfied glance at Shi Yining. "Please don't rush. Let me explain. I have allowed the stars to engage in free activities for now. We are not in a hurry to film," Shi Yining replied calmly, sipping his tea, a glimmer of contemplation in his eyes. "Have you lost your mind? Time is money, and these stars have their schedules tightly booked. If we do not complete filming within the contractual time frame, we will be in serious trouble." Producer Wan Lei exclaimed in outrage. Shi Yining's approach seemed utterly reckless. Such matters were not to be taken lightly. Yi Chengsheng, perplexed by Shi Yining's thoughts, furrowed his brow and inquired, "Old Shi, what are you thinking? Do you have a new approach?" Indeed, Shi Yining's eyes sparkled with fervor. "We are now in the 6th season of filming Extreme Challenger. The market response has consistently been positive. As you are all aware, otherwise, we would not have produced so many seasons. Please, share your thoughts candidly without any pretense." Producer Wan Lei, observing the exchange, felt his irritation wane, replaced by curiosity. This director, Shi Yining, was undoubtedly gifted. He believed there must be a strategy behind his enthusiasm that could elevate the show's ratings. "I have a brilliant idea," Shi Yining continued. "If we can persuade Wang Yu and He Yujun to join our filming and broadcast live, I am confident that the 6th season of Extreme Challenger will achieve unprecedented success." He unveiled his concept, looking at them with anticipation. If Wang Yu and He Yujun agreed to participate, the excitement would be unimaginable, especially with the live format. Given their immense popularity, the potential for substantial profit was undeniable. The conditions on-site were also reasonably adequate. The island had been equipped with internet access prior to their arrival. With a little adjustment, live streaming would be entirely feasible. Yi Chengsheng and Wan Lei exchanged surprised glances. Yi Chengsheng suddenly gasped, "How did I not think of that?" Wang Yu's online popularity remains exceptionally high, especially with He Yujun and the others. If they truly joined our program, I can hardly imagine the impact of the live broadcast. His expression was one of exhilaration, brimming with enthusiasm. However, Wan Lei's subsequent remarks doused his excitement like a bucket of cold water, also bringing Shi Yining back to a more measured state. What status do Wang Yu and He Yujun hold? Would they participate in our program? The financial incentives we can offer are unlikely to sway them. They are not motivated by such trivialities. Additionally, they do not strike me as individuals who seek the limelight. Your idea is commendable, but I doubt Wang Yu would agree. Though Wan Lei's words were harsh, they rang true. Among the wealthy elite, only Wang Xikong and Qin Fen were known to enjoy public exposure, especially someone of Wang Yu's stature. The likelihood was slim. "Old Shi, have you consulted Wang Yu and the others?" A composed Yi Chengsheng stroked his chin and turned to inquire. Shi Yining shook his head. I had this thought while dining earlier, but I sensed the odds were slim and did not dare to ask directly. However, if Wang Yu and He Yu Jun are willing to come forward, it would be a tremendous loss to miss this opportunity. If not now, there may never be another chance. I return to discuss this with you, hoping for some suggestions. As far as I know, the yacht to pick them up has been here for quite some time. They may be leaving shortly. Please think of a solution. A solution? What options do I have? I am merely a humble producer, Wan Lei remarked with a resigned shrug, indulging in self-deprecation. Yi Changsheng sighed in agreement, saying, "They're all pampered individuals. I would be astonished if they spoke to us with any warmth." He pondered aloud, struggling to conceive a strategy to persuade them to join our program. The trio exchanged glances, and a sudden silence enveloped the atmosphere. For a moment, they felt somewhat at a loss. Indeed, as Shi Yining pointed out, it was a significant opportunity for the program's advancement. Yet such chances are elusive and difficult to seize. The disparity in their statuses rendered negotiations challenging, as neither party could offer something of interest to the other. Chapter 379. 100 willing hearts inside the tent, silence reigned. Unable to devise a solution, Shi Yining proposed, "Perhaps we should consult the executive producer? Our program has received substantial investment from Jingtuan Capital. We have some obligation to them." It seemed the only course of action. "Let's contact him quickly, lest they depart, and we regret the lost opportunity," Wan Lei urged. Shi Yining hesitated for a moment, retrieving his phone from his pocket. After a deep breath, he dialed the number. The call connected. "What is it?" The slightly fatigued voice of the executive producer came through the receiver. Shi Yining immediately offered an apologetic smile. "Zhou Ge, I sincerely apologize for the interruption. We are currently facing a minor issue with the program." As soon as he outlined the situation, silence fell on the other end. After a considerable pause, Zhou Mengyang's voice emerged, low and measured. "How are you managing as a director? Even if they are Wang Yu and He Yu Jun, you cannot afford to delay the filming schedule." Shi Yining quickly apologized, understanding that the executive producer, as the project head, had every right to express concern over any deviations from the planned timeline. "Are you aware that I have arranged everything for promotion and distribution, awaiting your progress? Wang and the others merely needed to greet you. Why the rush?" Zhou continued, "If it weren't for our long-standing partnership, I would have been far more critical. You must expedite filming. Time is money." Upon hearing Zhou Mengyang's exasperated tone, Shi Yining felt a wave of relief wash over him and chuckled softly. "Old Zhou, filming isn't urgent at this moment. I wish to discuss something with you and see if there is a feasible solution." Before Shi Yining could finish, Zhou Mengyang erupted in frustration. "What pressing matter could you possibly have? Your priority right now is to commence shooting, capturing the faces of those celebrities. If you have no other significant concerns, I will hang up. I have a meeting to attend." "Wait, don't be hasty," Shi Yining hastily replied, cutting to the chase. "Here's the thing. I have an idea. Wang Yu, He Yu Jun, and several daughters of the Gambling King are present. Could we invite them to join our program as guest participants for a special event? They are presenting a rare opportunity that should not be overlooked. As you know, Wang Yu commands more online attention than many first-tier stars." Zhou Mengyang paused, his expression contemplative. "Old Shi, that's an intriguing proposition. But will they agree? If the financial compensation is excessive, the production team might find it overwhelming. I have come here to discuss this with you, hoping we can brainstorm some solutions together." Upon hearing Zhou Mengyang's softened attitude, Shi Yining promptly seized the opportunity to assert, "Consider this. If Wang Yu and He Yu Jun, along with those two stunning heiresses who outshine even celebrities, were to join the show, the impact would be explosive. Wouldn't the vast online audience be intrigued to witness Wang Yu and the others in a less favorable light? Once the live broadcast begins, it is guaranteed to set the internet ablaze. The idea is splendid, yet unfortunately, I'm unable to assist you in this regard. Wang Yu and He Yu Jun hold significant status. I am not in a position to approach them." Zhou Mengyang paused momentarily before adding, "Unless they themselves develop an interest in participating, it is unlikely to happen." "All right, I shall speak with Wang Yu and He Yu Jun. You can consider this your agreement to the proposal." Before Zhou Mengyang could finish his sentence, Shi Yining abruptly hung up the phone. After ending the call, Shi Yining shoved his phone into his pocket, his brows still knitted tightly in contemplation. "Has brother Zhou relented?" Wan Lei inquired, leaning closer and lowering his voice. "While he did not outright oppose it, he merely passed the responsibility back to us," Shi Yining replied, tugging at his collar in frustration. "Old Yi, do you think with Wang Yu's current temperament, if we were to take the initiative and suggest recording a show, would we be met with immediate rejection?" Yi Changsheng adjusted his glasses and shook his head. It's hard to say. He Yujun has a slightly better chance, as he has appeared on television before, but Wang Yu. Forget it. Deliberating like this will yield no results. I will simply ask directly. Shi Yining declared as he slapped his thigh, took a deep breath, and began to stride towards the exit. I'll await good news. Shi Yining waved his hand as he exited the tent. The afternoon sun bore down with a certain intensity. The sand, scorched by the heat, shimmered with fine particles of light, making each step feel as though one were treading upon flowing flames. Quite the discomfort for the feet. The sea breeze, laden with a briny essence, swept past, failing to alleviate the oppressive warmth. Instead, it distorted the shadows cast by distant coconut palms, creating a mosaic of shifting shapes on the searing ground. After taking a few steps, Shi Yining turned back to slip on a pair of sandals and grabbed a nearby staff member. After confirming Wang Yu's whereabouts, he hurried in that direction. 5 minutes later, Shi Yining found Wang Yu resting with his head on He Chaolian's lap beneath a coconut tree. He Chaolian gazed at Wang Yu with affection, indulging him with bites of fruit salad, personally feeding him. Shi Yining, envious, muttered under his breath, what a delightful situation, being enveloped by such beauty. As he approached, Shi Yining took a moment to steady his rapid breathing and flashed a smile at Wang Yu, who had turned to look at him. I hope I'm not interrupting your rest, young Master Wang. What is it? Wang Yu asked, sitting up with a frown. Shi Yining wore an enthusiastic smile. It's nothing urgent. I just wanted to check if you would like a refreshing beverage. We came well prepared, with an array of drinks, including Coke and Sprite. Is there anything you would fancy? Wang Yu frowned slightly. No need for that. If you have no other business, please leave. I wish to rest a bit longer. Shi Ning hesitated for a moment, observing Wang Yu, who had reclined back down, seemingly at a loss for words. Wang Yu, however, paid him no heed, choosing instead to savor the fruits being fed to him by He Chaolian. After a considerable pause, Wang Yu glanced at Shi Ning, who had yet to depart, and said coolly, if you have something to say, just say it. No need to beat around the bush. Shi Ning's spirits lifted, and he promptly replied, Young Master Wang, I shall not keep you in suspense any longer. I merely wish to inquire if you would be interested in being a guest on our program for an episode. Upon noticing Wang Yu's unchanging expression, Shi Ning mustered his courage and continued, as long as you agree to be a guest, our team will do our utmost to accommodate any requests you may have. Shi Ning wisely refrained from mentioning any specific remuneration, understanding that someone of Wang Yu's stature, a top-tier heir in Huagewa, would hardly be swayed by the fees he could offer. To suggest such a thing would be self-deprecating and might even invite ridicule. He looked at Wang Yu with anticipation. He Chaolian regarded him with surprise at his boldness. Her expression revealed a flicker of interest, yet she remained silent upon seeing Wang Yu's lack of response. However, should Wang Yu agree to participate in the Extreme Challenge program, she would be more than willing. Chapter 380. Rising fame. The prospect of appearing on the show alongside Wang Yu, with her identity as his girlfriend revealed to the nation, was immensely appealing to He Chaolian. Wang Yu had many former girlfriends, and this presented an excellent opportunity to assert her claim. They may have known him before her, but she was the true girlfriend of Wang Yu. This realization filled He Chaolian with joy, and like Shi Ning, she lowered her gaze, eagerly awaiting Wang Yu's reaction. Noticing He Chaolian's gaze, Wang Yu expressed mild surprise. You wish to participate? Yes, she replied, her eyes sparkling. It seems quite enjoyable to play games with the celebrities on the island. He Chaolian quickly fabricated a reason. Shi Ning's heart soared at her words. With He Chaolian's endorsement, the chances of Wang Yu agreeing to the program had significantly increased. He cast a grateful look toward He Chaolian, and then said, Young Master Wang, Miss Chaolian is also quite interested in the program. Perhaps you should reconsider? Wang Yu sighed, remaining silent as he reached out to gently pinch He Chaolian's fair, delicate face. Now, tell me, what prompted this sudden desire to join the Extreme Challenge program? He Chaolian's cheeks flushed, and she had no intention of hiding her feelings from Wang Yu. With sincerity, she replied in a soft voice, I simply want the audience to know that I am your girlfriend. I want to confidently step into the spotlight and let those flirtatious girls know that although they may have met you first, I am your rightful girlfriend. He Chaolian raised her fist, her expression adorably resolute. Wang Yu couldn't help but fondly pinch her cheek once more. Is this truly how you feel? Yes, she affirmed. He Chaolian nodded slightly, then spoke in a pitiful tone. Brother Wang Yu, if you think I'm being dramatic and my ideas are childish, then forget it. I was just caught up in a moment. You needn't concern yourself with my feelings. Everyone listens to you. Her voice grew softer, and her eyes glistened with unshed tears, presenting a heart-wrenching sight. Enough of this nonsense. You are well aware of what transpired last night. We must return to the country post-haste. He sat up, and the lovely smile on He Chao Lian's face abruptly froze, leaving her at a loss. Wang Yu cast a serious glance at Shi Yining, expressing his displeasure. You know my status is quite significant, and I am not interested in online exposure. Shi Yining, sensing the icy glare from Wang Yu, turned pale and spoke respectfully. I sincerely apologize, young Master Wang. It was my oversight. I was merely joking. Please do not take it to heart. A soft sound of muffled sobbing reached his ears. He Chao Lian clenched the corner of her garment, tears brimming in her eyes. She felt deeply wronged. Why is this happening? I simply wanted more people to know that I am his legitimate girlfriend. Is that too much to ask? Why be so harsh? When you caught a glimpse of her head bowed in distress, twisting her garment, her eyelashes glistening with tears, clearly fighting back sobs, while her nose was flushed. I understand. If you don't want to go, then I won't. He Chao Lian's voice was thick with emotion as she turned, her hair brushing against his hand with a chilly sense of grievance. Wang Yu's lips curled into a faint smile. Although he held a fondness for He Chao Lian, it did not imply that he would acquiesce to all her whims. Besides, there was the He family to consider. What if she desired more in other aspects? That was out of the question. Wang Yu could not yield to all her wishes. A timely refusal and a gentle reminder served as a strategy to ensure that this adorable little rabbit did not lose sight of her place under his indulgence. It was entirely feasible to publicly announce He Chao Lian as his girlfriend across the internet. For Wang Yu, it was hardly a concern. However, agreeing too readily was not ideal. Furthermore, Wang Yu possessed a mischievous streak, wanting to tease He Chao Lian and observe her reaction. As expected, her response was just as he anticipated. Chuckling softly at her pitiful demeanor, Wang Yu suddenly grasped her wrist, pulling her into his embrace. His warm breath brushing the top of her head. Crying like that is truly unbecoming. If you continue, I may not like it. He Chao Lian pouted, sobbing intermittently, her eyes now completely red. Observing her woeful expression, Wang Yu felt an odd sense of pleasure in teasing her. With such a commanding exterior, why was she so easy to bully? He bent down to kiss the tears glistening at the corners of her eyes, laughter almost spilling from his gaze. So, you genuinely wish to participate in the show? No, I no longer want to. He Chao Lian stammered between sobs. Since you were contemplating it, then let us go ahead and participate. Wang Yu replied with a smile. He Chao Lian abruptly lifted her head, her tear-drenched eyelashes fluttering like a startled butterfly. You cannot be teasing me on purpose, can you? She bit her lower lip, casting a skeptical gaze at Wang Yu. Wang Yu raised an eyebrow, playfully twirling a strand of her hair around his finger, deliberately elongating his tone. I always keep my word. If you wish to go, you should say so promptly. Director Shi Yining is still waiting. Shi Yining wiped the cold sweat from his forehead, his smile growing increasingly respectful. He truly could not fathom what this young Master Wang was thinking. One moment he would refuse, the next he would agree, sending Shi Yining's heart racing like a roller coaster. Nevertheless, Wang Yu had finally relented, and now it was up to He Chao Lian to decide. I want to go. He Chao Lian hurriedly grasped his arm, fearing he might retract his promise. Though traces of tears lingered on her cheeks, a sweet smile blossomed. I want to appear in front of the camera with you, envied by other women. Then, does this mean, young Master Wang, that you agree to participate in our 6th season of Extreme Challenge, Wilderness Survival? Shi Yining quickly interjected, anxious that Wang Yu might change his mind and leave him regretting. Yes, Wang Yu nodded, smiling. You should also invite He Yu Jun to join. Just tell him that He Chao Lian and I will participate. He 1T refuse. Young Master Wang was immensely appreciated. Upon hearing this, Shi Yining could no longer maintain his smile. I will go find He Shao to discuss this matter right away. But you have yet to mention the remuneration. Shi Yining tentatively added, glancing at Wang Yu. Wang Yu waved his hand nonchalantly, saying, you can decide the payment. Whether more or less, it matters not. Rest assured, young Master Wang, I will ensure that you receive the appearance fee befitting a top-tier star, guaranteeing your satisfaction. Shi Yining could hardly believe he could afford to invite Wang Yu to join the program. The remuneration for a mere top-tier star was insignificant compared to the traffic Wang Yu would attract. No one would dare believe that Shi Yining had successfully invited Wang Yu to the show. If Lao Zhou and the others found out, they would surely think he was deceiving them. Yet this was the reality. Moreover, once the program successfully aired, the popularity of Extreme Challenge was assured, and Shi Yining's reputation in the directing circle would undoubtedly soar. Chapter 381. The Mountain Man has his own ingenious plans. Shi Yining was brimming with excitement, but did not forget there were other matters to discuss. Young Master, to ensure the program's explosive success, we have decided to change the format to a real-time live broadcast. What do you think? Shi Yining respectfully inquired of Wang Yu. Wang Yu glanced at him and replied coolly, no problem. The content of this season of Extreme Challenge is wilderness survival. Do you have any requirements? Upon hearing this, Wang Yu's eyes flickered as he stroked his chin, deep in thought. Had he agreed too readily? With 3 days of wilderness survival, it was certain that the production team would require them to forage for food. With so much fruit on the island, they would not go hungry. However, if they only ate fruit without hunting, they would surely be ridiculed by netizens, leading to an embarrassing spectacle. Upon contemplating this matter, Wang Yu furrowed his brow and slowly inquired, "Is it permissible to bring my bodyguard?" He had made little preparation,